Hello and welcome to another episode of Time of Day, the Transatlantic wargaming podcast brought to you by the people at Break for Assault. I'm Lee Parnell, recording from somewhere in the south of England, and as always, I'm joined by my host, Mike. Mike, how are you? And how
It's
sunny is
great.
LA?
It's time for oh no, the camera. It's time for Dodgers baseball, baby.
Okay, American Rounders got you. So it's one of one of the few American sports I just don't follow at any levels. So it's just like,
Oh, it's the American sport I care the most about, actually.
oh, there you go, then. It's good.
That being said, the sports I care about are Formula One and baseball, and that's kind of it.
I think Formula One's good. I'm good. Apart from,
Well, of course you think Formula One is good.
I'm not a Ferrari fan, yeah. Uh,
Look, Ferrari didn't get a double DQ this time, so we're improving drastically.
I mean, Ferrari said that Hamilton would get his eighth. I think he meant eighth in the drivers' championship, but
He should have more points. That plankware is bullshit.
Anyway, Formula One
MBS is
aside,
corrupt. Burn the FIA to the ground.
I mean, I'm not going to argue that too much on that one. But tonight we're going to be looking not at Formula One, but at Pacific Book because we finally had the PDF after a little bit of delay on thanks to logistics on Battlefront side.
Yes.
We now have it, and so we're going to go through and look at all the different nations and touch upon some of the more interesting command cards as well.
Yes.
And
So
yeah.
I've chosen somewhere between 4 and a dozen interesting command cards. You might go, that's a big swing. Well, the Americans are basically 2 armies in one, and the British are basically 3 armies in one. I've split
Hmm.
off the Australians because they do have a different force org chart,
Yeah. Whereas
but
British and Indians are thrown together. Yeah.
correct. So we will see. Uh, and this is probably going to be a long episode, so we should jump right into it.
Yeah, that's make this point last. So okay.
All right. So
We're going to start with
here is
Japanese
our
first because Japanese are first in the book.
I guess we could. I suppose. Hold on.
I'm a big fan of actually doing it in book order. It makes it more. Yeah, so this is basically as well. Well, Mike looking it up. This is a mid-war book, and unlike the version free Pacific books, this is much more integrated into mid-war as a system. So it doesn't have its own weird little sub points like the version 3 books did. It's designed to slot into mid-war a lot easier, so you can take it to a tournament and the like. So we're picking up,
Well,
like say,
we say that, but when we get to the British and the Australians and the Americans, it specifically says you can only take formations and support from other parts of this book.
yes, but what I'm trying to say is the actual by not being its own points, it's a lot easier to take it into a mid-war tournament and use this. But
Yes,
yes.
yes,
Mhm.
but it's not quite as plug and play as like mid-war Eastern Front and mid-war North Africa are
The
for say the
Germans.
Germans.
And frankly, I'm happy with that. It should be a little bit more segregated when it comes to list creation. Otherwise, you can do all kinds of weird and
You
broken
can do some
things.
very silly
Can you
things.
imagine combining Finnish tankettes with Japanese tankettes because it's all Axis? It'd be horrible. Talk about tankettes.
Speaking about bad Japanese tanks, behold the Japanese force org chart. So
Yeah.
they've split off Imperial Army and Imperial Navy formations. You'll find lots of similarities, but obviously you'll have the 2 Japanese tanks that people remember and a third one that people always forget existed. Uh, these horrendous looking boat
I
things,
love my little
some infantry.
tugboats.
Hmm. Speaking of the tankettes, you'll notice that they are Force Org supports
Hmm.
here, down here,
Along
and there
with,
are no command cards for tankette companies.
oh, thank God.
Yes, so dodged a bullet on that one.
I
No,
mean,
no tankette spam.
I think I get enough of those the little Hago light tank things that spamming to be a problem as it is, but we'll get to
Yes,
that.
well, anyway, but we got mortars.
Hmm.
75 mil field artillery, 105s. Infantry OPs are back, and they are the only OPs that you get in this entire book. They're all
Yeah.
infantry, with one exception. It's not
Okay.
quite an OP, but the Americans have one of their cavalry patrols,
Oh yes,
and
yeah.
those have observer as well. But engineer platoon split off on its own. 0 fighter bombers. Classic.
Hmm.
I don't know how much zeros actually were fighter bombers, but it's the Japanese plane everyone remembers, and thus Battlefront says that's the plane.
I mean, they were used the fighter bomber role, but I'm not sure if there's a principal fighter bomber. But yes,
So moving on, we have the special rules.
so many special rules.
So many special rules.
Hmm.
Thankfully, a lot of them are very simple or
Yeah.
stuff we've seen before. So, Bonsai. Units with
Banzai.
Bonsai have better counterattack and assault. Bonsai units charge 6 inches instead of 4 when moving into contact.
Hmm.
In addition, Japanese infantry teams save on a 4+ from defensive fire, but are never forced to fall back from defensive fire. However, you still become pinned. Uh,
So you'll be pinned at the end of the combat, but it doesn't stop
yes.
the combat. Now
And
this
you
is
cannot choose to break off.
no. So basically that first bit, also that third bit with the defensive fire and that kind of thing. In the version 3 book, it used to be a case you got hit normally defensive fire. If you were pinned, you then got to roll morale check. If you passed it, the enemy got to do defensive fire again, which is fine, but a bit slow. This sort of speeds it up and basically, which I think is a much better way of doing it. So you're probably going to take out most of the platoon, but enough of the guys will get in and they're going to hit you pretty hard in the assaults. We'll see later.
Yes. Jungle Craft, train dash of 12 inches instead of 8.
Hmm.
No surrender, better last stand. Night attack, we've all seen night attack before.
Yeah.
Pioneers, classic engineer thing. Cross minefields on 3s. You know what? Does not give you the dig in that normal engineers do.
Oh yeah.
So only crossing minefields on 3 up.
Yep.
And then you can automatically clear if you're in the minefield and not pinned down.
Yeah. Flamethrowers.
Flamethrowers, tanks,
Much
amphibious
like
battle
DD
tank,
tanks.
front armor 3 or more. Basically, this stops you from getting one of those weird reserves and just spamming out a billion Hago tanks.
Yeah, don't count it for defense. Have like a defensive game where lots of tanks on the table. It's yeah.
Yes. Duty to the end. Bailed out tanks still get to shoot their machine guns in defensive fire.
Hmm.
They can't roll to counterattack or break off. Also, bailed out tanks prevent enemy units from winning the game on assaults when checking if the assault is over. Uh, and
Fire
then
bursts.
if they break out, that's still usable. Fire burst. Basically, if you have two guns instead of one, you don't have to reroll successful hits.
Hmm.
So you will only take the artillery penalty on a single gun.
And that's because when
Uh,
when we get to it later, units are in twos basically. So it's
yes, basically, like it's a bunch of 2-gun units. So
mhm.
this is just to make sure that you aren't just screwed on artillery throughout the entire game. But as soon as you lose one, you are going down to rerolling successful hits.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, German infantry platoons have worked out the whole firing burst technique. So
Yes. So our first formation is the Type 97 Shiha Tank Company,
mhm.
the true wondrous heavy tank of Japan. Uh, Force Org, 2 mandatories, 3rd optional, and then a tankette as as an optional 4th choice.
Interesting straight away. It's a tank. It's a tank formation that has night attack.
Yes, that is a first.
Hmm.
Uh,
Scary.
mhm. You get an option of 2 guns. You can get the 57 millimeter, which will give you a 2-1 AT5 firepower 3 overworked gun.
Hmm.
For some amount of points, you can upgrade to the 47, which has an AT of 8 and a 4-up firepower, but also comes with no HE and is still overworked.
Yeah. So when you start
Uh,
seeing Grant Lees and Shermans, that's when you want to start switching that 47 millimeter.
yes, and also 4 dice of machine guns, which is pretty
Respectable.
respectable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but standard. It's no Stuart, but
yeah. Fearless, trained, aggressive. We're gonna find that this is a very common stat line in Japan.
And like I say, armor wise, it's on par with an M1 with an M13 or a Stuart.
Yes.
Gun
That
wise, it's
doesn't it
doesn't
doesn't
keep
get
up.
much better as far as armor goes for Japan. They were not a tanky nation, believe it or not.
Well, like I say, when we don't really have much of the way of raw materials and are participating in either nation, you want to keep things very nice and light.
Yeah. The units, uh, the platoons are 3 to 5. Same stats, same option of guns. However, with the HQ, its points cost to change both tanks over to the 47. For this one, you can choose any number. It costs an amount of points
Yeah,
per
which
gun you switch over.
with no HE and the lower firepower, it makes sense to have a mixed formation, mixed platoon. So a couple of tanks can deal with other tanks, and the others dealing with infantry and gun teams.
Yeah, or if you just have an awkward number of points left over,
All
you can
that.
get some cheeky upgrades in.
So one thing I
But
will say right now to that points, obviously you can't show them, but we did. There are it's an update to now points that will come out with this book. So you got book points, and then there's already an update to living mid-war points for Pacific Forces to bring them in line with the current formula.
oh, good, I didn't hear that. So
Did I keep that one? Apologies. After
these are book points,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
everything we say is subject to change.
Hmm. And there will be change coming straight away. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
So the Type 89 Chiro.
Hmm.
This Force Org will look very familiar. It's an HQ, 2 black boxes, a third gray box, and then a tankette gray box.
Very much an
Well,
interwar tank, this one.
yes. Strangely enough, top armor 2. So not that bad in assault against infantry, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Still night attack. Still have duty to the end. This one adds battle tank because obviously its front armor is lower than
Three.
3.
Hmm.
No option to up the guns in any way. It just has that 57, fearless, trained, aggressive. Uh,
Yeah.
we look down, you can have 3 to 5 in the platoon.
Hmm. I mean, if this was an early war tank, that stat line would be pretty much on par with most other early war tanks. Unfortunately, it's not early war; it's mid war.
It's a mid war, and when we get to the allied nations, you're gonna be like, oh wow, these Japanese tanks are garbage, and
Hmm.
they are. I mean, to be fair, the Stuart can go toe to toe with any of these, and that's like the Hordy light tank as far as allies are concerned.
Yeah.
Type 95 Hago,
You know,
again,
tankettes.
same force org chart. These have a 37 gun, which is a higher AT than the 57 at 6, but a lower firepower at 4.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's a light tank, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not really comparable to a Stuart. It's more on par with Tetrarch or something like that, where it's just an armor one box. It's basically what
Yeah. Night
armored
attack
car
battle tank
levels.
as well.
Hmm.
Just to remember to point those out duties to the end.
Yep.
Uh, I actually I think this is the worst of the Japanese tanks, despite being the one that everyone remembers what its name is.
Hmm. I see. I don't know it being the worst because yes, its armor is the worst, but its movement stats are decent apart from its cross. And the
Uh,
gun, it's being anti-tank 6, firepower 4. Rate of fire 1 though is not great. Obviously, one-man turret.
yes. So actually, I forgot to go over the speed stats, but 10, 14, 20, 24, 4 up cross. These guys are 8, 10, 14, 14, 3 up.
Mhm.
Type 97s are 10, 12, 16, 20, 3 up.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
the Type 97 is closer to a contemporary tank in terms of
uh,
its mobility, armor. It's about par with
yes.
an M13, as I said earlier, or Stuart. Well, not Stuart, because
Yeah.
Stuart's much faster, but certainly an M13.
But yeah, but going back to what I was saying, like these are your like tanks that are as good as you're gonna get.
Hmm.
I actually like if I'm just gonna drive tanks into infantry, I think the 89 is what I go for because you get that top armor of 2,
As an infantry support tank, absolutely.
and you still get the 2-1 firepower,
Hmm.
a 2-1 gun, 3 up firepower to help dig out the AT guns or the machine gun nests.
Mm.
So I just find it hard to find a place for the Type 95 to live.
unless you really want to spam light tanks. I mean, obviously we can't talk points, but obviously they are comparatively cheap.
Yes. Same as before, platoons of 3 to 5.
Mhm.
Here they finally give us the stats on these tankettes. The Type 97, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. I want to say Tiki, but
Kiki.
that's probably not correct. So you can have 3 to 5 of these. They come armed with the machine guns. You can pay an amount of points to change the whole unit over to 37s,
Is it
which
whole
are
unit? I thought it was
uh
oh yeah, but you can replace any, so yes.
oh
Because you
right.
replaced the machine gun, the 37 millimeter, so
Yes, but it's points for the whole unit. You can change however.
Mhm. And thankfully I think I'll just keep the machine gun.
I mean,
But
front armor 2, it's actually not the worst.
as a recce, so look at this as a recce vehicle, because Scout and
Yes.
Spearhead.
Yes. And
It's
also does not have battle tank.
no,
So a little more armor.
yeah.
Fearless, last stand a little worse,
Hmm.
obviously, because scouts, but trained aggressive. Two two front armor is pretty good by Japanese standards.
Yep. Um,
Uh the
little
cross is a
slow.
little bad
Yeah, it's
for
a
up
little,
cross, also not fantastic.
but it's okay as a recce tank. Certainly having a one unit for the bulk formation for relatively cheap cost, not a bad thing.
Yes. And then we also have the option of the Type 94 TK Recon Tankette.
Again, into war
Same
tank.
stuff stats. You can only pick you. There's no option to upgun to the 37s. It only comes with machine guns.
Hmm. Mobility is
Uh,
more or less the same as its
the mobility
successor.
is just a tiny bit worse because the cross country is just a hair slower.
Oh yeah, 16 rather than 18. Yeah.
But that being said, cross country or train is kind of what you're using when you spearhead.
Hmm.
The ability not to slap a couple 37s in there to ward off other light tanks or armored vehicles of some sort. Also a little bit of a downside.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
would lean towards the 97. Also, that extra front armor is worth something.
yeah.
It stops you from getting 50 cal to death.
Or boys anti-tank rifles, which do appear a lot in this book.
I mean, it'll help you, but there's still a very real chance of boys AT rifles going straight through the front armor
Mhm.
of this thing.
Boys
But you will
anti-tank
get a
rifles going, I'm
chance.
relevant.
Yes, finally, the day of the anti-tank rifle is here because early war isn't out yet.
Hmm.
Moving on to the Imperial Army Infantry. So HQ, 2 black box platoons, gray box third platoon, machine gun platoon, what they call the rapid fire gun platoon, which I think is a little interesting. We'll be going over all these in more depths. 70 mil battalion guns, 75 mil regimental guns.
Hmm.
So you can get 2 templates in this formation,
Yeah.
which is pretty nice.
You don't get integral mortars, but you do get all these, like say, these little infantry kind of style things.
Yes. Uh, Confident, trained, aggressive. So they're not
Deadly.
fearless. They've gone down to confident instead of fearless compared to the tanks.
I mean, yeah,
Uh,
but okay, but because of counterattack 3 plus, last down 3 plus, confidence are going to come up for doing stuff like follow me
or unpinning
or
if you
rallying.
get hit by an
True.
artillery.
Yeah.
So there is some downside. I really like this over here because it's a bonsai unit. They've reminded you that in defensive fire, your infantry save is a 4-up
Yeah.
on the card,
That's
which
nice.
is very nice. Great reminder. Obviously we've got that really good terrain dash because of it's not on the card, but I want to say it's jungle terrain or something like that.
Hmm.
Uh Weapons wise, slow firing bolt action rifles. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of that.
I suppose not like a pistol team. I thought they'd be like a pistol team, but
Mm. And then we have the infantry platoon, confident, trained, aggressive, bonsai. Again, the reminders are there. So this comes with more of these, bolt action rifle teams, and it comes with some mortars. Uh, these mortars are the British style light mortars, which are a slow firing gun. It's got that overhead fire, so you can just whale
it's a,
those in.
it's what's called the knee breaker because everyone thought the little shape fingers go on your knee and they broke legs.
Ah,
But
but
yes.
AT2 firepower 4-up.
Stand like
You
more
can,
stats.
yeah, you can pay to add an extra mortar. You can add a heavy machine gun, which is a real, honest to God, heavy machine gun,
Yep.
6.2. You can add a 20 mil AT rifle. Hey, look, 215 5+. It's an anti-tank rifle, all right.
I mean, against Universal Carriers and Stewarts, that's a decent stat line.
That is decent again, but you can only add a one extra of all of these. So
Yeah.
you're
Big
looking at
platoons, so
big platoons. I
mm.
mean, 9 or 13, depending on what you go with. But obviously, the main thing you want to do is charge with these guys.
hmm it's unfortunate that their grenade launcher does not have smoke, like say a British 2-inch more does.
Yes, that is a tragic
Yeah.
flaw there.
Another thing to note, because me and Eddie were looking this up, the actual platoon structure is exactly the same as was in Banzai. So if you have Japanese and Banzai, nothing here is different. You should have all these bits and pieces.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
As many people know, I did not play V3. I
Mhm.
don't know anything about V3. I don't know anything about the Old Pacific book, so I'm glad you can assuage people's fears with this.
I think that holds true for the US Marine Corps later as well. I think me and Daryl were looking at that to try and work out if that was the same structure.
Yeah, we do have the catalog. We'll
Mhm.
probably go over the catalog at the very end.
Yeah, I've got time. So we do it
If
for
we
time.
see how long this episode goes.
Mhm.
And then we have the Naval Infantry
Yes.
Company. So this is these are some
Spicy.
big boys. So you can have there's an extra gray box infantry platoon. You do have access to the mortars. The 70 and the
Mhm.
75 are there. Then we get the 20 mil AA and the 75 AA.
Integral AA, but it's definitely there for shooting aircraft and not tanks.
Absolutely. Don't you know air superiority was a major part of US doctrine, and thus the
Mhm.
Japanese were very concerned about being fighter bombered to death with
As were the American
incendiaries.
allies.
Uh, where are we all? Air support is scary no matter who you are.
Yeah, so these guys,
So
yeah.
the naval infantry are your fearless, trained, aggressive
Mhm.
guys. Uh, so counterattacking on twos, they still assault on threes. They're still only trained. The reminder for defensive fire is there. The weapons is the same. If we look at the infantry platoon, it's all the same except no anti-tank rifle option.
Oh
But
yeah, okay, yeah. And
you
there's
can have two heavy machine guns here instead of just the one,
mhm. And let's say
which
Phyllis
is
as well. Which is,
and fearless as well, of course. The naval stuff is better quality than the army stuff. Is
mhm.
kind of how that breaks down in Japan. Uh, but interesting, no AT rifle, but double machine guns. Especially considering I would not want to take machine guns because I'd rather have this unit going forward and bonsai charging people. I mean, they're fearless
I mean, I
and deadly.
disagree. I think I want the machine gun there to be putting their base of fire for suppressing enemies. So defensive fire doesn't rip me apart. Can be
Yeah,
hit
but
and
with
fours.
aggressive, I feel like leaving two machine guns back is just begging for them to be, killed quickly.
Eventually, but over that point, my assault would have gone in. I don't care at that point.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So the mortars, since we're gonna be brushing over those, you can have 247s, you can have 237s. One has higher AT with a worse firepower. The other one has worse AT but better firepower. You only get two of them. They're 2-1 guns. They're kind
Uh,
of both awful,
yeah.
but they're pretty cheap,
And I
even
think
with at Fearless.
and that the 20 millimeter rifle and the platoon, you probably still want them just as a hang back behind the infantry, provides at least some guidance against Stuarts just running in and machine gunning you.
Yes. So we have the mortar platoon, classic 81 mil mortar, has smoke, very important,
Mm-hmm.
and you can have four of them. You do not get you don't get fire bursts.
No, but you
So,
have got force. You don't need, yeah.
but you have four,
Mhm.
and honestly, that is an advantage because of the smoke bombardment.
Yeah.
So you can have a 4-gun smoke bombardment, as we can see on the same sheet as the 70 mil battalion gun platoon.
Mhm.
They also have smoke and smoke bombardment, but with only two guns, you only get two clouds.
Yeah.
So your smoke compartment will be smaller with these other guns. But that being said, if you're trying to like cover off an ambush or some AT guns, the two bursts should still be plenty enough aimed
I mean,
well.
stack it with, you can have these and the mortars. So be able to
Yes,
stack
you can have
multiple
both.
smoke is always a handy thing.
And we still haven't even gotten to the 75s, which are still in
Yeah.
this formation. Artillery, 2 AT, 4 up firepower, pretty all right. 40-inch range, a little on the short side.
Mm-hmm.
Direct fire, 2-1, AT4, 4 up firepower. You do also get that smoke and direct fire, so if someone's rolling up some tanks, you can be a little cheeky about it.
Yeah, the one thing you don't get is a gun shield. No,
Yes.
which
I was like,
makes,
there's a gun shield right there, but they do not have the gun shield
unfortunately,
built
it's a
in.
very small gun shield, so they don't count it. It's a shame because obviously, if you're going to be wheeling this up for close support, then that was does limit its ability to do that. But
It does move pretty quick, 8-inch
yeah, and you
tactical.
have got a 3+ save. So
Yes.
yeah,
Uh, the 75 mil regimental guns.
these antique pieces, like should we have a horse team towing it around?
They have a gun shield.
They have a gun shield,
The indirect is still AT2 firepower 4 up.
but
It
no
does not
smoke.
have no smoke actually, so I was wrong. So your smoke comes from the 70s and the mortars. 64-inch range though.
Hmm.
Direct fire still bad, 16-inch range, 2-1, but anti-tank 6, firepower 3 up.
I mean,
As far as dual purpose guns go, these are pretty not bad.
it's fine till the enemy starts bringing Lees and Shermans against you. Against Stuart's 6 is fine. Trust
Sure,
me,
sure.
Italian 47 millimeters are 6, and they rip my Stuarts apart. So
Yes. Uh, naval 20 mils, 3.2, 20 inches of range. AT5 firepower 5. Dedicated AA, so
mhm.
if someone does bring fighter bombers, you can swat at them.
Again, decent movement stats, decent save. Yeah, four platoons of 4. That's a decent platoon.
Yeah, and it's pretty good firepower with pretty good AT.
Hmm.
Are you gonna kill things? Probably not. Are you gonna bail a lot of stuff so your bonsai boys can run in? There's a real chance of that.
Yeah.
And then the 75s also come 2-4, range of 32 inches, 2-1 firepower, AT10 firepower 3 up, self defense AA for
Hmm.
what that's worth.
It
But
means
having a 2 up last stand on guns is pretty good.
it's not bad. Like I say, again, a platoon of 4 rather than a platoon of 2. No gun shield, but obviously these could be dug in a lot of the time anyway.
Yes. Not to dive into the I didn't pull out this command card, but it does have the gun nests and the machine gun nests in the
Yeah.
Japanese deck of cards. So this is a prime candidate of buying 4 and scattering them to the 4 winds type gun stuff.
Hmm. Again,
Still
when enemies,
aggressive,
yeah, but when enemies
no
starts bringing out
tactical.
Shermans, that this is when you're going to need this gun because, like I say,
Yes.
or even a Lee. I mean, from a 5, he's still going to start needing something more like the stat line to deal with it.
Yes. So then we have the Naval Tank Company. Uh Little different, no option for tankettes here,
They
but
don't
you
float.
can have. They don't float. Weirdly enough, those little baby things don't float. They don't have that bolt hole,
Hmm.
just plowed on the front. Uh,
I just love the little conning tower it has on the turret.
it's this
It's
is
just so
very
silly.
stupid. This is an incredibly stupid tank.
I also
But
suspect it's going to
yes.
be quite a pricey tank to buy as well because it's about the same
Oh, I guarantee they come in
twos of.
twos and they're resin metal
Mhm.
monstrosities probably. Uh, jeez. But yeah, front armor, armor 1 all around. Pretty quick for Japanese tanks. I mean, tactical 10,
Yeah,
14, 20, 24. So amphibious, battle tank, night attack, duty to the end, the same things we see on all of these light tanks. The gun is actually interesting
yeah,
because it's got that 37 short range of 24 inches, but AT7.
yeah.
Actually, no. Normally the 37s are AT8, so this is a little worse actually.
But it's a little worse than say yes. They're no, there's some
It's worse than the 37s that the Japanese get on their other tanks because they're still firepower 4, but they're AT8.
right. Okay,
Four-up cross, I'm also not fantastic about because like every time you try and use amphibious for whatever reason, a
Yeah,
50-50 chance you don't go
you're
anywhere.
just gonna be floating. Yeah,
hmm the
but
platoons are 3 to 5.
it is traumatic for doing, like, say, the naval warfare, like Guadalcanal, that kind of thing. So
Oh, sure. I mean, as stupid as they are, it's kind of cool to have them, right? If you're doing naval infantry and you're doing the Japanese are island invading this time, well, here you
mhm.
go. But otherwise, like, there's not a lot to talk about. It's a formation of just this tank, and obviously, it's an amphibious tank. But
Yeah, amphibious and night attack, so you can do a night amphibious landing.
sure, I don't know if Japan ever tried that.
No,
They
not
seem like the
just trying
kind
to
of
think.
lunatics who would have,
No,
but
I was just trying to think. They're very keen on naval warfare at night, but I can't remember if that extended
Mhm.
doing landings at night. I have to look it up. Okay.
Oh. Okay, so we do have the wild card stuff here. Uh, you can in fact get a tiger. Now,
No.
I just want to point out, if you look here in the bottom left corner, because I've cropped most of it out, this is potential combat service, which means the Japanese never, they bought the tiger, it just never got out of Germany
Yeah, the postal
because there was this
service.
whole thing called the war on. Uh, but and it's like, oh, they bought a Tiger one, they also bought a Panther and two Panzer threes, but then it says only the Panzer threes were delivered, but the Panzer threes aren't in this book.
I know. It's just like if you're going to pay me the books for the pounds of free,
It
be the
should
one.
be it should be the pair of Panzer threes.
Yeah, I think
Is my humble opinion, but Battlefront knows everyone wants Tiger tank.
because it's in World Tanks, the Japanese tree, so that's why they put it in there. And those claim that they hate me.
Uh,
I
I like how they've gotten better about labeling that this is potential
be,
combat service. Like
to
they're
be
very
fair,
clear that this didn't actually show up.
all the mid-war monsters have said that potential combat service
Have
thing.
they? Okay.
Yeah, there's it gets put down the bottom like that does, and people start.
Okay, sure. But anyway, Fearless Trained Aggressive. It's a Tiger tank. It's gonna cost a huge chunk of your points.
I just love that it's got GTN, so even if you bail it, it's still going to shoot you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even if you bail it, it's gonna machine gun you,
Yeah.
which is very funny to me.
Hmm.
But other than that, it's a Tiger tank. It's not even a Porsche Tiger. It's an honest to god Tiger tank.
Yep.
The Type 4 Cheeto. I don't know why they didn't paint it orange. Uh, I've cropped this out, but this is the one that was actually in Saw service.
It it does, but late. Yeah, they sort of put it in mid-war. It's more of a late war thing in very limited numbers. But yeah.
Sure, sure, but you can have 2 to 5 of them.
Mhm.
You know, they've got an AT-12 3-up firepower, front armor 7. Like this is your real. They're still expensive. Don't get
Mhm.
me wrong. It's still pricey per tank, but it's an actual Japanese tank. They actually built them. They actually saw combat in like 1945. But
I feel like
front
late.
armor 7, side
Feel for
3.
I feel for Armor Summons might be a little bit flattering it, but yeah,
Side 3 is still not fantastic.
no. But decent move, like mobility is on par with its peers, that kind of thing. Boss
Yeah, a
free,
3-up cross.
24
You
inch
know,
road dash, yeah. Guns
76-inch
decent.
range. The gun. That's the one of the best Japanese guns you can have.
Well, it's basically like having a 76 millimeter in mid-war. Also, no, not overloaded either or overworked.
Yeah, no penalties like no HE or anything like that.
Mhm.
And then I'm sorry, no, that was a fake one. This is the thing that actually saw combat. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
was
I
it
was
this one? Okay,
mistaken.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's the SPG. Sorry, because right here,
Mhm.
actual combat service.
Yeah.
That other thing is fake. They didn't actually make them. I apologize. This is the thing that actually saw service, and they're an SPG platoon. You can have 2 or 3. It does not have fire bursts, so you want 3 of them.
Hmm.
But front armor 5, side armor 4, top armor 0. Well,
Everything.
forward firing. It's got smoke bombardments. It's direct fire 28 inches, 2-1, 10, 3 plus.
Yep, decent gun.
Pretty good. I mean, that'll put the fear into Shermans and Grants and Lees
Yep.
and Sentinels. And Sentinels. Never forget the Sentinels.
I try to.
But these are the ones that actually saw service
Mhm.
during like Okinawa.
Yeah. But yeah, these were the ones we were talking about. I got mixed up, and yeah,
Yes.
they saw service in late war rather than
Right.
yeah.
So good armor. This is as good as your historical armor gets.
Yep. Just don't get hit by artillery.
Do not get hit by artillery. And then we're actually getting into they put the wild card stuff before the supports instead of after, and that annoys me about the layout of this book.
Mm-hmm.
Your engineer platoon. You get an amount of guys with those same awful rifles, but you have 2 flamethrowers. No matter what size you pick, you only ever get 2 flamethrowers. Confident, trained, aggressive, so they're on the army stat line. But you can get 13 guys with 2 flamethrowers. They still have bonsai.
Yep. Like you say,
They have
cross
that pioneers
minefields.
thing, so they cross minefields while they do not dig in.
But on the other hand, that's not necessarily a problem. You can have these guys just like say clear the way ahead. Well,
Yes.
but not a force you should be using on defensive. Hence why I don't think they get the improvement for digging in. These guys are there for clearing away. They clear minefields and next turn assault and lead the assault in with the rest of the guys plowing behind you. So
And then the scout platoon, 3
oh
or 4
man,
guys with those rifles. You can buy a 50 mil mortar to add in. Bonsai scout spearhead. So they don't have the normal drawbacks to counterattack and last stand like scouts do.
that's true. That does make us like better
Uh,
than most infantry scouts.
we're still looking at a 3 to 5 man platoon.
Mm-hmm.
The tankettes are much better use of getting you some stuff, but if you want to telescope, then I think these guys are pretty useful at it. You use the tanks to get you that extra bit of movement, and then you telescope out the scout platoon. And then they die horribly because you only paid for 3 of them and no upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
The Navy version of the scout platoon, which is just fearless instead of confident,
But same size.
same size, same exact everything else. 81 mil mortars, so you can add mortars even if you don't have the naval. If you're running army, you can just run 81 mil mortars as a support choice.
But just take up the same. I want the artillery slots. That's the same problem because there is other stuff in that
Yes.
slot.
Yes. Stuff like the 75s and the 105. So 75, it's that 75 gun that we saw
Mhm.
before, but in army stats instead of navy stats. 2 guns, fire bursts, 8-3 direct fire, 2-4. No, hold on. Their direct fire is better. I think the navy ones were only 6 on the fire, on direct fire, weren't they?
On the tank,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then some 105 howitzers, large gun, no gun shield on the 105s.
No, I think Berkeley seems to shot on the model. Again, I think it's quite a small gun shield, so you don't get much benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. But classic 105 stats, except direct fire 2 up on these. So they must have had some really good direct fire shells. But only
that's standard for a 105. Most 105s are
I could have swore they were 3 up firepower
no,
on the
because
direct.
75 millimeters are generally firepower free, and 105 is generally firepower 2 direct, and then
Are they? Okay.
155s are auto.
Okay, so only 1 rate of fire halted. Has that slow firing, so if you are pinned, you are suffering a penalty anyway to your rate of fire. Or
Yeah.
not your rate of fire, but to shooting while pinned.
But these guys at the back just as heavy. These are actual proper dedicated, not dual use heavy artillery.
72-inch range. That AT direct fire is for emergencies.
Oh yeah, which I'm sure will come up.
Yeah. Veteran, which is always good.
Yes, yep. Are the other ones veteran as well?
Yes.
And what about your
but
mortars? Mortars are obviously trained, aren't they?
The mortars are
Yeah,
trained.
yeah, okay.
And then your OP, who are fearless, veteran, careful.
Totes OP.
Ooh. Yeah, and then scout. You have to field 81 mil, naval 81, 75 or 105s before you can field the OP.
Yeah, so regimental guns won't cut it.
Correct. You have to use support options, not in formation options, to get these guys. They have the same garbage rifles, independent observer scout, so you can
One
maneuver them
exception to
around without
that,
getting blessed.
the naval 81 mm is in formation.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, so yeah, that is the only formation unit that will trigger it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because it specifically calls out the SKUs on the 75 and the 105, because the field artillery section are what the support options are called, not the
Hmm.
information Navy stuff. The 75 mil AA gun. It's the same thing as was in that Navy formation, except it's in Army stats, so confident, veteran, aggressive.
Hmm.
The 20 mil is also here, same deal.
Yeah.
And then we have the Zero Fighter Bomber. Fearless, veteran, like that matters at all.
The
Uh, well, actually, the veteran
veteran
kind of
does
does,
for
but
yeah,
fearless is just stupid. Uh, hit on fives, 3-up aircraft save, 20 mil cannon,
30 mil.
little anemic.
Is it
Huh?
20 mil? Oh, it's 20 mil, sorry.
It says
Yeah.
20 mil right there.
Yeah, it's 20 mil, yeah. I mean it's
And then
on par with the 50 cal basically, but lower rate of fire.
yes, which is why I say it's a little anemic.
Mhm.
250-pound bombs, AT3 firepower 2-up, pretty good.
Yep, good enough.
And then my little choice of command cards here. So the first one is yes, you can in fact take the army guys and make them fearless veteran.
Hmm.
There is an upgrade card for that because people like to know that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's got some more in it, which are upgrades to all the support weapons have their own cards. I didn't bother including them. It's a title, so you have to use them all together. Uh, One of the cards I think is interesting is no death in dishonor.
No, no
When a
dishonor and
unit,
death.
oh, no dishonor and death, excuse me. Uh, when a both are still true. When a unit leader is destroyed, roll a die. On a roll of 4+, discard this card. The unit now passes all motivation tests, including counterattack, follow me, rally, and remount on 2-up for the rest of the game. So you buy this, you just hold on to it until one of your unit leaders die, and then suddenly the whole, platoon is just raring to go on a 50-50 die roll. I think it's interesting. This is, one of the more interesting command cards we've seen because I don't think we've seen this particular one before.
No.
Uh, I don't think we talked about it on camera, but a whole lot of these cards for all the nations are just reskins of mid-war command cards we've seen before.
The X-Wing cards, I like to call them, the ones that feel like they just crib stuff, like, make your formation commander better in some way. And
Your formation commander throws 2 attack assault dice once per game,
yeah.
and it costs a handful of points, which is really dumb because you can buy a unit for those handful of points. But I think this one is interesting. It's not too many points. Where if I had them left over, I would contemplate this, especially if you are going to, if you've got it's both good and bad for infantry because the Navy guys are already on 2s, but if you're running cheaper Army guys, you're not upgrading the veterans. Having this around to run your big bonsai platoons in is pretty good.
Yeah.
Banners, this is an amount of points, but you have to take 1 extra hit from shooting to be pinned down. You have to buy these per unit, by the way. And it doesn't affect like flamethrowers or artillery, but I think having it's pretty cheap. So I think, maybe if you're only running like 1 good assault platoon, this might be a card you would consider just to make
Hmm.
sure that you get in there.
I think I'd say anything that makes an assault unit get into combat is never a bad thing.
Yes. I would not buy this for all my infantry units, but having like this is the platoon that's going in. And then to go with that, the regimental standard. So you need to do it with an infantry company or a naval infantry company. Second team in your regiment, your HQ has the standard. Units within 10 inches in line of sight have last stand, rally, and counterattack of 2 up.
Oh, 10
Uh,
inches. That's a very big bubble. Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought it was
but
just
10
standard
inches
6.
and line of sight.
I mean,
Line of sight might get you on that, but 10 is big.
a
And
jungle
I don't,
table. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know about the Navy infantry, but for standard army, this is pretty tempting because
Hmm.
you'll basically get that. It's also treated like a command team is destroyed, so you can jump it.
Yeah.
So that's what I've those are the I think the really interesting command cards for Japan.
Yeah, because the interesting thing with that rule is that basically you can move your CO and 2IC apart.
Yes.
And then if your 2IC dies, obviously the CO can't inherit it because it's not close to him, and it'll just go to taking over a nearby infantry stand or such.
Yes.
Hmm.
But also
Interesting.
like providing a you might not want to break them up because the one IC gives you the rerolls and the two IC gives you
There's that the bigger bubble and better
the
stats. Yes,
the big bubble and the better stats.
that
So
salt's going to keep on going,
yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of people running regimental standards.
and it feels in keeping.
It feels in keeping. So that's what we've got for Japan at the moment.
I'd say on the face of it, that feels like how Japan should be. Big
Yes.
emphasis on infantry assaults, rubbish tanks,
Hmm.
written little 2-gun platoons, which have some stats but are still 2-gun platoons.
Yes. And now let me just overall I think Japan's very interesting. It's an entirely aggressive army.
Hmm.
So sorry, I was just checking to see who we're going to next. We're going to US next. Uh but yeah, entirely aggressive army. The tanks are pretty crap.
But not to the point of being unplayably crap.
But not to the point of being unplayably crap.
They're crap
This
in the
is
same way
mid-war.
M13s are for M14s are for the
Yes.
Italians. They can be quite
Uh
annoying.
yes, we joked that well, see what happens when, the Shermans and the Lees get here. This is still mid-war and those are still Shermans especially are still pricey.
Hmm.
Uh you're going to be seeing a lot of Stuarts is what you're actually going to be seeing. And while you'll be at a disadvantage, you can still fight Stuarts pretty competently with these Japanese tanks.
Yeah.
I still feel like the Imperial Army should have just been a command card where you just downgrade the stats of the Navy formation. But eh,
They got that book out somehow. And the
sure.
formations are slightly different. I mean, isn't there probably enough differences to make justify having it slightly?
It's kind of sad because like Japan is the big bad of this book and kind of the focal point. People are like, oh, I want to play Pacific because I want to see and they feel like the least filled out part of the book.
Yeah.
I think I might be wrong on that, but that's just how I feel.
I mean, yeah, but I'm not sure what else you put in for Japanese. Yeah,
Also
yeah.
true.
I mean, you have the
Oh,
cavalry
I'm
at this
sorry. Hold on.
point.
I didn't put the command card in. I just want to bring up very quickly. For the people going, where are my AT mines on sticks? It's a command card. It's basically the Molotov cocktail card where it's a one-time use where you get one really good attack on the top armor.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just a reskin of mid-war cards we saw, so I want to show you guys new and interesting cards, not reprints. So just in case anyone's like, they took away my guys with bamboo mine sticks, they're still technically in. It's just a pretty lousy command card now.
Yeah. Fortunately, it's like the RPG card where you get like limited 2 or something like that. It's just
That
use
would
and
have
lose
been
it.
way better. That would have been way cooler. I think the RPG card is how mid-war AT card should work
Yeah.
across the board
Hmm.
personally.
It's how all those kind of things should work. Yeah, but
Yeah,
yes,
the fact
unfortunately,
that like Gammon and Sticky Bombs are one-offs and random Soviet conscripts are like RPG 6 grenade.
we
We're
got
just going to
tons of
keep
shit.
throwing them. Like, mm, mm. Anyway, let's move on to the Americans because that's who's next in the book.
That makes sense. So again, we're split into Army and Marines. I believe it's Marines up first.
It'll be Marines first because As much as I don't like it, they are the stars of this book.
I
Marines.
apologize if they aren't separate. They are actually all one formation. Okay.
Well, yes, but they're split off just like the Imperial Army and the
Yeah.
Imperial Navy stuff are split off. They're all in the same force org chart, but there's a bunch of Marine specific stuff and a bunch of Army specific stuff. And when
Hmm.
we go through, I'll highlight those points. But for the Marines, you can have the Shermans, you get Stuarts, Marine Rifle Company. The Army only gets Stuarts and rifle companies. Now, there is a thing that's shown on a different page where the Army has access to uh, some M3 Lees,
There is, yeah, clear fought in every.
specifically about the. That's one of the command cards I'm going to show.
Yeah. It's an interesting
But
card.
if you're wondering where the LVTs are, those are command cards. Where's the Army's unit of Lees? That's a command card. The Army does not get access to Shermans, which is insane, but here we are. Flamethrower tanks,
Mhm.
also command card. I'm also going to show those off just because people want to see flamethrower tanks, I think.
I mean,
Uh,
the
at,
Marines are lucky to get Shermans in because they appear in literally October of 1943. Them and the LVTs are just getting into mid-war by the skin of their teeth.
Sounds like mid-war, baby. 1943 mid-war. Uh, but yeah, as far as support goes, Marine 75, Marine 105, regular 105s, which are armies.
Yeah.
There are command cards for 155 guns.
Oh,
They're upgrades to the 105s.
neat.
I didn't put those in because we've seen those kinds of cards before.
No, but my Mike's got some 155 somewhere, so they might finally get some use.
Hey, yeah. Uh, 2 boxes of Marine 20 mil AAA platoons.
Yep.
There is a command card to get Bofors.
Yeah.
Marine OP, Army OP, P-40 Warhawks,
Woohoo.
Marine Engineer Assault Section, Navy Construction Platoon,
CBs, yep.
Marine Div Recon, M3A1. These are the White Scout Cars Cavalry Platoon. These are the thing I was talking about where they get Observer. And also a dismounted cavalry patrol, which I think is a little interesting. We'll talk about them.
It is, but there's one annoying thing about them, which we'll get onto when we get to them later. But I'm glad to finally see that dismounted cavalry is an option again now. It always used to be a thing.
Yes, I think dismounted cavalry is cool.
Hmm.
So special rules. Uh, there's different. These are uh
Yeah, it's
some of these
mostly.
rules specifically call out Marines. One of them calls out Army. So the Marines have better tactics and counterattack. The Army units have a better rally.
Yeah.
Flamethrowers are flamethrowers. Observer is observer. Any unit leader that has observer can act as an observer. Canisters. We've got canister rounds, baby. -1 penalty to hit on its moving rate of fire for anything that has canisters. It's under tanks, but it also shows up on AT guns.
On the AT guns, it makes more sense. On the
Yes.
Stuart, it's I'll just fire the machine gun with no penalty, thanks. But on the AT guns, yeah, absolutely good.
Yes. Stabilizers in there because it's the US. Time on target is still here because it's US.
Yeah, standard release rules.
Mm-hmm. I mean, time on target is a fantastic rule.
When you get hit.
Yes. So the Marine Rifle Company, HQ, 2 black boxes, 3rd platoon gray box, machine gun platoon, mortar platoon, 37 mil AT, information Marine Scout platoon,
Mm-hmm. Always handy
and
to have.
some.
Always handy to have information recce.
Yes, even if it is infantry recce.
Yep.
AT, you got some 75 self-propelleds on some half tracks. We'll get to those.
Yep.
The Marines, they're fearless, they're trained, they're careful. 2-up counterattack, 3-up assault, 3-up tactics. They're really good at what they do. HQ armed with Thompsons, classic American armed with Thompsons. The Marine Rifle Platoon.
Also worth noting they do have, even the Marines have Truscott trots, so their dash speeds are amazing.
Yes, the cross country is a 14, so they didn't call that out, but yes, they do have the boosted cross country dash that copies with the Army as well.
Yes, the Japanese will outrun them in terrain, but on open field and roads, the US will outmarch them.
Blitz past. So the Marine Rifle Platoon just starts with M1 and BAR teams, which are just 1-1 but not slow firing, so a little better off than their Japanese counterparts.
Yep.
You can buy up to 2 light machine guns. You can buy 1 bazooka, 1 heavy machine gun, 1 60 mil mortar, 1 flamethrower.
It makes for a very big platoon. I mean,
It makes for a very big platoon.
it starts off like a standard rifle platoon, and then you throw in all those optional extras. I mean, so I think
It
the
starts
normal
off
rifle.
just a touch worse than a normal rifle platoon because those are the same sizes plus 1 bazooka stand.
Ah, okay, yeah. All right, of course you have the integral bazooka, right? Yeah.
No, you do not get a free bazooka in these
Hmm.
units. You have to pay for the bazookas.
But still, you don't really need that many bazookas in the Pacific.
Uh, Also true. How bazookas? Ooh, that sounds like we're fighting people who have armor.
I mean, the important part of overkill is kill, but even so, it's
Yes, but yeah, you can get you can get a big thing of base of fire because 2 light machine guns and a heavy machine gun. That's a lot of shots.
yeah. I mean, instead of doing like
Uh,
late war rifles, we have that combination. It makes for some very good fire
yeah.
bases.
But going with the classic US individual mortar, it's an actual artillery template, and thus I do not like it.
I mean, it has its place. I mean, I've been Eddie sold me more on single mortar tubes than I used to think about them. I still think they're a bit fiddly for what they do.
I think they unnecessarily slow the game down because I'm going to
Mhm.
sidetrack just ever so slightly here. As a guy who has run late war like cavalry
Mhm.
formations where I have multiple cavalry patrols that all have 1 jeep with a 60 mil mortar, if I try and use that, I'm eating up so much game time doing it. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my opponent's time. Can I eke out some tactical advantage from that? Absolutely. Am I being a dickhead at the table? Yes. Which is why I like how the British and the Japanese handle their individual like
Direct
one-off light
fire. Yeah.
mortars,
Mhm.
direct fire, slow firing, AT2 4-up firepower. And I'm like, okay, good. That's just one thing. It's just another die. I roll that one die and we're done. I'm not like I'm not fiddling with my range and marker. I'm not putting in the template. We're not arguing over who's in and who's out. We're not rolling a bunch of dice. Like, is it less effective? Yes. Tactically and strategically speaking, it is worse. It's better the way the American one does it. But I think it's just such a game killer that I don't want to do them.
No, that's fair. That's what I say. That's why I found them always far more fiddly than they were. But yeah. But like you say,
Yes,
the
and
actual where Eddie was telling me more in the second point about the actual game effectiveness of them compared to it. But yes, I think I prefer to see that being a range 32, halted rate of fire to moving rate of fire 0 kind of attack. Just don't,
sure, that would
yeah.
also be interesting.
Hmm. But yeah,
Uh,
but decent, decent start for Marines. Can't argue that as a
American
platoon.
flamethrowers, little only rate of fire 2. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
but
other countries have better flamethrowers with more rate of fire.
yeah, I think Americans are always a bit.
I think the Soviets have rate of fire 4 flamethrowers, don't they?
Yeah, that's like bigger teams, like multiple flamethrowers on a stand, though, isn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's because that's a medium-sized base, and this is a 2-man base,
This is
right?
more like British ones where it's just one guy on. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes more sense.
I like to say I think American flamethrowers got better towards the end of the war, but it often they didn't get a particularly auspicious start.
Sure. So the Marine Rifle Platoon, very customizable, can have a lot of mass. But also if you don't have a clear plan for it in mind, can also just become a giant point sink.
Hmm.
Hey, look, it's a Marine Mortar Platoon. Fearless, trained, careful.
Standard medium mortar.
Standard 81 mil mortar. We've all seen them before.
Hmm.
Uh, Machine gun. It's a heavy machine gun, 2 or 4. Exact same as we've always seen.
Honestly, against Japanese, I think HMGs and light MGs are going to be a very standard
Gonna be
fit.
massive, yeah.
Hmm.
And then we get to the 37 mil AT gun, and the canister. I mean, rate of fire 6.
I mean,
That's a
defense,
lot of shots.
and
In
it's
defensive fire,
even
that's brutal.
also it's same with moving. So even when it's pinned, it's still rate of fire 6. These
Yes.
this
But the
platoon
downside is canister means that if you're pinned, it's +1 to hit. So it means you'll be hitting
still,
them on fours instead of threes, but you can kill a lot of charging Japanese people.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, also the save goes down on defensive fire. So
Yeah.
I think the little 37 millimeters could be damn near also include. It's
Yes,
as
this is the first time because normally I'm like the 37 millimeters trash. It's
Mhm.
it's AT7. It's four
Against
up.
Panzer Freeze and everything. Yeah, even, I mean, because
Yeah,
it's all right against Italians, but, but the Americans didn't face
sure,
that many Italians. It's always more
right.
American. Yes.
If we're talking Americans in the desert, the
Hmm.
37's kind of crap. Uh, in the jungle, this thing's great.
Hmm.
Wait till we get to the 2 pounders.
Well, yes, absolutely, yeah.
The scout platoon, 4-man squad, fearless, trained, careful, scout spearhead. Uh,
Very comparable to its Japanese
they've
equivalent,
got
really.
they do take the penalty for last stand,
Yes,
which makes me wonder if that's a misprint that the Japanese scouts didn't have that, or
I think it might just be represent a more aggressive Japanese mindset, but
that also might be the case.
Mhm.
But in formation, 4 stands, it's not that expensive.
No.
Uh,
And you can press these guys to do an assault, or at the last stands 4+, but they counter attack and tactic, and that's
Tactics
still
is 3, yeah.
yeah.
And again, Truscott Trot, if you are smart about where you're running through, you can still get that spearhead bubble up and out there.
Yeah.
The 75 mil SPGs or SPMs, excuse me.
Perfectly decent.
Hey, look, 89, 3-up firepower, 50 cal machine gun, an extra die of machine gun for funsies. Uh, I don't have a complaint. It's a half track. It's 100. Extra machine guns to throw back assaulting Japanese.
Mhm.
Really good 75 mil gun to dig out machine gun nests and gun emplacements.
And let's face it, front armor one, against most Japanese stuff, that's gonna be good enough. So
Yeah, the only downside is you can only ever have 2 of them, but
mhm.
eh,
It's
but
something
I
I wouldn't
think that
dismiss
they're
straight away. Put it that way, I think it's
I would
definitely
not
got.
dismiss them.
Hmm.
Uh you'll have to look at the points, and obviously the dynamic points will also come out and you'll have to make your own decisions, but because there's no like inherent downside of they're an indirect unit, they're just, you know 70, there's short 75s on half tracks
Yeah.
with machine guns. I think there's something to be said for that.
Hmm.
Uh Behold,
Stuarts.
the Marine Steward Company, 1 HQ, 2 to 3 platoons. The Marine HQ can have 3 stewards. 1 to 3 on the company HQ.
Yeah, so it's like British levels of
Yeah.
tank platoon size, HQ
Yeah.
size.
Fearless, trained, aggressive. So Marine infantry has been careful. Marine tanks are aggressive.
But this is my point about canister. Canister and the Stuart is
Yes.
entirely redundant. Where you have, I can either have 6 canister shots with a +1 penalty a hit, or I can have 5 machine gun shots with no penalty. I think I'll go with the 5 machine
With
gun shots.
twice the range on the machine guns.
Oh, so that yeah. Imagine we get to
Now,
split canister. It's probably just an issue, but
don't get
yes,
me wrong. In defensive fire, I'm firing canister. Give me that extra die.
yeah,
Provided I'm not. No, there would never be a moving rate of fire penalty. So in
correct.
defensive
If you're
fire, if I'm
bailed,
not
yeah,
bailed out,
mhm.
well, if I'm bailed, then I'm not shooting at all. But in
Exactly,
defensive fire, I'm blowing canister just for that extra die.
and that's fair. Yeah,
So it's not that there's no use for canister
it just
with
feels
Stewarts.
yeah,
It's
it's just
just
a little
you're
more
already a
redundant.
rolling box of
Yes,
machine guns.
it's what
Like, I
Stuarts are good for.
suppose if I'm in a position, I just want to sweep a bunch of infantry off an objective, I can roll up to 7 inches away and start blasting canister in there.
Hmm.
Well, start with machine guns and then the next turn start shooting canister while sitting still. But
Yeah.
the loss of mobility on a very fast tank is just kind of meh to me.
Hmm.
But there is an edged use case of defensive fire. You fire canister instead of machine guns.
I
But
think
aside from that,
that's fair. Yeah, the extra dice is always useful extra dice, especially if the enemy's got banners and therefore needs an extra hit to pin. Exactly.
yep,
As you can see, stat wise, it's comparable to the actual Japanese medium tank. But
yes,
better mobility than the Japanese medium
better
tank.
mobility,
Apart from Cross is a little bit on the
a
streets.
little worse.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
better gun.
little worse on AT because I believe the Japanese is an AT8.
Oh, yes, we were saying earlier, yeah, 88. Yeah,
Yeah,
but only
or
if
at least you could.
only if you went to the 47 millimeter,
Right, only
and
if you
then
pay more points for it.
you had no
Yes,
HE.
yes.
Hmm.
So I think the Stewarts, we're going to see a lot of Stewarts in the Pacific, I think.
And I like that because if you're going to see Stuarts anywhere, it should be either North Africa or Pacific.
Mhm. The M4 Sherman Company. Hey, look, it's it's an HQ with 2 to 3 platoons.
I'm going to I'm going to point out to you. Just look at front profile. You can sort of see the forward, the more refined slope and the little direct vision slope. You can understand why Lee was getting excited about there being a um, small hatch diesel Sherman kit coming, especially with Soviets also needing it. On to the next bit, Mike. Yes,
So
yes,
a little different than the tank
very
platoons where
flat fronts here. I'm going to say it's a
a, a,
big
a
hatches,
little a little different and more standard. So Fearless Green, because like the Shermans are brand new.
brand
I
new.
think
Yeah.
that's fair.
Hmm.
Aggressive. They're your standard 75 mil Shermans.
Yep.
You can have one or two in the HQ, which is different than others because normally it's only it's just 2 tanks, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
yeah, you got the option of having less tanks. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you
Hmm.
have the option of having 1 tank. And then for the platoon, it caps out at 4 instead of 5.
Hmm.
So you can at max have 14 Shermans if you're playing enough points. But again, this is mid-war, and even with the discount at being green and aggressive,
And with direct
you're
points, it's still
fearless.
yeah.
It's fearless, and it's gonna be expensive
Hmm.
because 6.4 AT-10 stabilizer, still a lot of machine guns. You know
But
that 50 cal is a problem.
more importantly, it's the normal Sherman, so therefore don't bother doing it anyway.
Lee, please calm yourself.
Just annoys me. It's a mid-war thing. We're doing late war big hat Shermans.
So the book
Why
has
Battlefront?
definitely
Why?
split the Marines and the Army because we're moving into support
Hmm.
picks that are specifically Marine Corps support picks.
Yeah.
So the Div Recon, just like the information one. However, this one you get 5 or 7 guys, so it's a bit bigger, so you can get that bubble bigger.
Yeah. And make it a bit more useful after the bubble when you actually want to do it for something else. Yeah.
Yes. Marine Assault section. Here's some guys. Here's some flamethrowers and some what's the word I'm looking for? Applique infantry stance to take hits for the flamethrowers. A blade of wound infantry to
Hmm.
go with your flamethrowers.
Well, you
But
need the guys to the ground to get in because they got the better assault value. So it's a trade
uh,
off.
that's true. But you also need to get within 4 inches to shoot the flamethrowers.
Hmm.
So there's a very real chance you trip over yourself here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, if those guys go in, you stack it behind them, which is how we're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, look, it's CBs.
Hmm. Not
Uh,
technically combat troops, but obviously in that kind of combat, you end up being in combat whether you want to or not.
Again, it's got pioneers, meaning that they only get the thing on minefields. However, they've got another thing. So
Did the
they
American
do get a
rules
dig in.
say the same?
No, they didn't mention pioneers, but
Oh,
pioneers
maybe
shows
it's
up in
another
the
page.
Japanese rules.
Right.
So pioneers gives them the cross minefields on a 3, and then this stat they dig in on 3, so they actually get the bonus to dig in.
There we go. Okay, yes, I see what you're
Um,
saying now. Yeah.
but this is still like, as much as I love CBs, I've seen CBs work magic firsthand in
Hmm.
Afghanistan. Never underestimate CBs. Uh,
They're not combat
this is
troops.
not a good unit.
No.
This is not a good unit at all.
I mean, it's fair for. I think this is one they usually put. Yeah, they put into for doing a historical scenario where they were in a combat situation. It's pretty cool to have. This isn't a unit you're going to take to say a pickup game or tournament game for competitive advantage.
If I'm running like some kind of nightmarish tank formation, I'm like, I need some infantry to stay at home and just dig in.
Hmm.
Maybe just cheap, massive bodies to sit on home objective. Might not be
Maybe,
terrible,
maybe. I think
but
I'd rather have an army rifle platoon or something doing that.
I would not disagree. Twin 20 mil AAAs,
Yep.
4, 2, 6, 5 plus,
3+
2 to
save,
4 of them. Yeah,
decent little gun. Can't.
it's the 75 pack howitzers.
See them
Hey,
before.
look, it's those 75 pack howitzers we've seen before.
Yeah, but veteran.
Confident, veteran, careful,
Mhm.
but confident.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, you got to worry
I
about
mean,
cannon
Marine
battery as
stuff
well.
has been fearless. I'm sorry, the Navy CBs are technically confident, not fearless as well.
But Marines, yeah, have been fearless. When you get to the artillery, yeah, okay, bit
Yeah,
weird that switches over. Going to veteran is nice though, right? But
going to
in some
veterans is
ways,
nice.
I would be,
And honestly, I would prefer that for a unit that's going to sit in the back.
yeah,
Time on target, beautiful, lovely, classic,
mhm,
forever good time on target.
yeah.
No gun shield, obviously.
I mean, it's not the greatest gun, I'm gonna be honest, but
But for Pacific, actually, there's a lot of good in Pacific. It's pretty good by Pacific standards.
yes, all right. Yeah, I'm thinking more of the fact it's a very short range artillery piece, but yes, you do have rate of fire 2 anti-tank 6, which can be quite handy as a last
Yes,
ditch defense gun.
yes. Uh, 105s.
Mhm.
Hey, look, it's 105s. Uh, we've seen 105s before.
Yep.
You can have 2 or 4 of them. There's a Marine OP, fearless, veteran, careful. I'm sorry. The the 105s are also confident, veteran, careful.
So I'm gonna have to remember when we get to the army one what the army ones are and stat wise. Then presumably they're gonna be confident trained. We'll see later.
We will see.
Yeah.
Marine OP, you need the 75s, the 105s, or naval gunfire support. Hey,
Man
do you remember
cards.
that naval gun card from D-Day? It's back.
Any more expensive?
No, I think it's just as how many points was it in D-Day?
I suppose it's only 10 points in D-Day.
Okay, it's more expensive in Pacific
Yeah.
then. It's way more expensive in Pacific.
I could be wrong, but I thought it was only 10.
Yeah,
I thought it was a ludicrous 10 points back then.
yeah. All right, so here is our Army Rifle
Hmm.
Company.
So more machine guns, mighty tank
So
guns, more
same number of
mortars.
actual infantry, but you can get the option of doubling up on your heavy weapons. You can
Yeah.
have 2 units of machine guns or 8 or 37s or mortars.
No
There's
integral
still the assault
scouts,
gun. No integral scouts. That is
but
the
yeah,
other big difference.
not big change it.
Uh, these guys are confident, green, and aggressive.
So that's pretty much standard for the Africa version of the Americans, isn't it, Bo?
I believe so.
Yeah.
These guys have carbines. The Marine officers had Thompsons.
Which is why I had better assault value. Yeah.
Yes, but they rally on 3-ups. That is that's the little special thing you get with the army. So they rally better than they should.
Handy for defensive unit.
Yes. Hey, look, it's the North Africa Rifle Platoon.
Hmm.
Uh, Free bazooka. You can buy 1 LMG,
Buy the
but
LMG.
buy the LMG for the love of God. Buy the LMG. It's some points. It's an amount of 1 to 2 points for an LMG. I recommend you buy the LMG.
You're gonna need it.
Yes, but confident, green, aggressive. Look, they even they even use the desert picture.
It's that's the beach. You see, that's the beach. That's why it looks so
That's the beach,
sandy.
right, right, right. Mortars, green mortars.
They weren't
Oh,
good in Africa and not good here.
but 3 or 6. So for smoke purposes, that's a lot of smoke.
There's a lot of smoke, and obviously you don't get the penalty for terrain on smoke, so it can be a bit more easy to get that called in.
Yes.
Hmm.
Machine gun platoons. Hey, look, it's that heavy. It's that 4 stand heavy machine gun, but you get 2 of them.
Was because you don't get the ones in the platoon, that becomes a lot even more essential by that platoon, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The 37s you get 2 to 4. Gun shield, confident, green, aggressive. They've got canister rounds.
Yep.
Uh, no matter what formation I pick, I'm running as many 37s as you're gonna let me get away with. I'd be very tempted, depending on my list and how many points I have left over, of getting a second unit of 37 AT guns.
I mean, that's pretty much the main selling point of the rifles might be the fact they get that second platoon.
Yes.
I mean, stat
And then
wise, is
here
yeah. Oh, this as well.
we get a different half track.
Correct. This is the
This
actual artillery, the heavy howitzer mortar carrier rather than a tank
this is the
destroyer.
we have a priest at home.
Yes,
It's the assault gun as compared to the SPM version.
correct.
So this one you do have a bombardment,
Hmm.
6.3, 50 cal. Everyone loves a 50 cal, and you can have 2 or 3 of them.
Yep.
But they are green. Mm.
Yeah, but I'd be more kind of direct fire than things rather than do it as artillery pieces.
Sure. I suppose that would definitely depend on what you were looking at.
Yeah, and what the enemy's got in terms of tank. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, here's the Army Steward formation. And look, there's more than just tanks in this formation.
It has the mandatory mortar platoon.
It
I was
has
getting right. Apparently, Marines didn't pick up on the
it
mandatory
has
mortar
the
platoon.
best unit in the entire U.S. Army, the armored mortars. 75 mil assault guns
So
are
useful.
back.
Never leave home without those.
Well, I believe it's this unit right
Exactly,
here,
it's
the
the
one that
same
we
one,
already looked
but
at.
it's still a good unit.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's green, but I still think it
yeah,
backs up those mortars lovely.
and uh, white scout car recon patrol.
Yeah, exactly the kind of vehicle I'd be bringing to the jungles. So a cross 5 movement 8 vehicle.
Look, I didn't
I,
say it was good. I just said, hey, look, it's back.
I'm surprised you don't get dismounted scouts as an option there along with the cavalry recon patrol. But okay,
Well, that's in the support.
I know, but I'm surprised it doesn't appear here because I'm sure those guys also
Yeah.
worked out it's sometimes better to ditch the scout cars.
Yeah. Hey, look. Confident green reckless.
Back
Ooh.
to that. I don't think get the
Ooh.
command car that fixes that in Pacific.
Not for the tanks, they don't.
No, in North Africa, you basically staple on to what makes them slightly better. But yes,
Yes. Hey, look. It's the North Africa stuff again. Here are the armored mortars. They come in threes. Always worth, always take.
yeah,
They are green though, but hey,
but so
the
cheap.
armored
Yeah.
mortars are so cheap and so good that is.
Also, note the Stuarts still have canister for the army as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry. The Army 37s had canister. The Army Stuarts have canister.
mhm.
All the 37s have
It's a
canister.
standard fit, pretty much.
Yes. Hey, look, this piece of crap is back.
It wasn't good in Africa. It's even worse in the jungle.
Yeah, but good news. That's the only American wildcard unit.
Yeah, no T14s, anything like that.
No insane heavy tanks. Now we're getting to the actual Army support stuff, and here,
Mhm.
the White Scout Car platoon is back. It's
They did
Jeeps.
my White Scout card dirty in this edition. This
Cross
tactical
5 is a
8
little rough.
and tactical 8.
Yeah. Green. So, ooh.
Mm. Also, no observer.
Oh, yeah.
How bizarre.
I think this is the information one, so I think the support version gets it.
Right, okay.
I might be wrong on that.
We'll check them out. Yep.
Okay. Oh, hey,
No,
dismounted cavalry patrol.
also no observer.
Also, no observer. Huh.
So I'm guessing they didn't do that wrong, Pacific. I don't know. It seems
This
odd.
has to be like some kind of typo or something, right?
I mean, if it be on both of them, makes I
We'll
don't
see what the FAQ says when it comes out
know.
with all the points and stuff. But I would be surprised. But hey, you get 2 carbine teams instead of 50 cals.
Yep.
But you get the light machine gun and a mortar. So hey, you know.
I mean, it's not quite as crazy as it used to be in version 3, where you had like dismounted 50 cows and 30 cows, but it has got the mortar and light LMG, so that's fine.
Yeah. 105 field howitzer batteries. Hey,
Yep.
look, these guys are trained.
So it's like cheaper, I imagine, when the confident veteran Marine Corps ones, but yeah.
Yeah, confident, trained, aggressive. So you'll get a discount on the army stuff because the
Hmm.
stats are a little worse. Hey, look, it's an OP. The 105s or the naval gunfire. Uh, Beautiful, perfect, never done anything wrong in their life. P40 Warhawks.
Do love them.
They've got the 500-pound bombs. They've got 50 cals. Beautimous.
It's an awesome.
Forever good, forever in my heart.
It's a shame they're green. That's the only letdown with those things, but that only matters for the bombs. 50
Yeah,
cows
I mean,
don't care.
you're 50 cal strafing with these boys.
Hmm.
Moving on to the command cards. Flamethrower tanks. This is the card for the Marine Stewards. There's
Hmm.
a different card for the Army Stewards. So
Yeah,
both Army and Marines have access to uh the Satan flamethrowing Stewards.
yeah, the Shermans just weren't enough from that point to make being a flamethrower tank. Obviously, they do late war get a flamethrower Sherman, but at this point, it's just Stuart's doing it, Satan, that kind of thing.
Yes. So you add the flamethrower, you lose a single die of machine gun. I think these are still pretty worth,
Yeah, I mean,
depending on points,
yeah,
because it is an amount of points per 2 tanks.
it's obviously the flamethrower is not as good as say, but like a Churchill Crocodile and that kind of thing. But like I say, for losing a machine gun shot, I'm not going to complain too much about it.
Yes.
I think it's definitely worth a look at.
Mm-hmm. The Marine Raider Company is here,
I love
guys.
this. Yeah.
Um, So, Raider platoons, which are command card, a demolition platoon, and then it's the normal Marine stuff.
Yep.
The Marine Rifle Company has an assault of 3 up. Yeah. The Raider platoon, you get 7 teams. They assault on 3s. You cannot buy the HMGs. You can buy an AT rifle,
You get a boys
which is
anti-tank
not
rifle.
terrible.
Yeah.
But you can also only take the small.
Oh yeah, small ones, yeah.
So you assault on 3s.
Small.
That's the benefit you get. You only get the 7-man and not the 10.
Mm-hmm.
But you can add in a boys AT rifle, and I'm like, that's actually pretty solid.
I mean, add Twitch Mortar, it's basically a British rifle platoon.
It's got more range than the bazookas do, and I'm like, that's not pretty good for Pacific.
Yep.
The Marine Raider demo platoon, it's 9 guys.
It's
They assault
basically
on 3s.
it's basically
It's an
improved
improved.
engineer. Yeah.
Yes, it's you take the Marine assault engineers, you get 9 guys, and they assault on 3s.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole Marine rifle company, but it's eerily similar. So I just wanted to show off the rifle platoon. These guys don't get to take any of the extra stuff except for the bazooka.
Yep.
No LMGs, no HMGs, no flamethrowers. But they're 3.2 rifles.
The MG teams, yep. So they bought some Johnsons.
Yeah, it's pretty, like, there's some
They got their
interesting stuff
Johnsons
going on
out
here.
and they go show them off to Japanese.
Mm-hmm. U.S. Army can have 25 pounders. And let me tell you, I can't tell you what the points are, but they're way cheaper than British 25 pounders.
And presumably they get time on target.
Well, yes, because it's the 105 battery, so they will be
Yep.
green, but you just have the 25. So you will have time on target because that's a doctrinal thing, not a
Yep.
not a gun-based thing. So affordable 25 pounders is very funny.
Don't use artillery, just use this as anti-tank guns. Anti-tank 9, firepower 3, just kill every Japanese tank that looks at you.
That approaches 2 feet of your side of the board, yes.
Yep.
Also, Army universal carriers. Only the Army. So you can replace your cavalry recon patrol, which means you can replace them in the Stuart company with these boys. 5 universal
Yes.
carriers sounds a lot better than a couple White Scouts cars. No offense.
I mean,
They cross better. They move faster.
No boys anti-tank rifle to bolster the anti-tank, but other than that, yeah,
But
like you say, it outstrips a White Scout card every other peaceable metric. So
yeah, I just think it's funny the U.S. Army gets all this British equipment because, in New Guinea, they're like, we didn't get our stuff. And the Brits are like, here, we have equipment. We need bodies.
I'm sure this will never come back to haunt us later, but yes. And every point thereafter, the Brits had to go to the Americans and ask for stuff. Yes. But that one shining moment, you had to come and borrow stuff off us.
Yes.
Well,
here it is. The M3 Lee tanks at Makin.
Yeah.
Makin, I don't know, Makin Atoll. You take a desert Lee platoon, you give it amphibious, and off you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, it's had the big wading attachments fitted to it.
The deep wading kits.
Yeah, bizarrely,
this is your primo tank as the U.S. Army, because again, U.S. Army. So if you're running only Marine stuff, you cannot take this card. You need an Army formation to run this card. So you can just, as a support option, you can just have some Lees, and I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You take a Stewart company, you bring some Lees. Bob's your uncle.
That's
we blow up a bunch of Japanese tanks, and you don't have to pay for the upgrade guns because it doesn't mean anything to Japanese tanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no point having an anti-tank 10. This just says U.S. Army because it's just like there's nothing that triggers that as far as I can think. You can say U.S. and it'd be also because it's a U.S. Army and Marine Corps formation, isn't it?
Right. But the Marine stuff says, this says U.S. Marines, and then it specifically calls out a Marine rifle platoon.
Yes, but this is a force support thing, not an information thing.
Yeah, but
I'm not quite sure what the impact of it is, but yeah, it's cool.
I think the impact is unless you have a Army or Marine formation, you don't get access to the Army or Marine support stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes
That
sense.
would be my assertion.
Hmm. Cool.
Uh, Also, the 25th is here. The angry strawberry lives. So you can, in fact, there's a suite of these cards. You can, in fact, have confident, trained, careful army units if you want. There's different. This is just the card for the HQ, and this is for the rifle company. So you
Yeah,
can get all those mortars up to trained. You can get all that other stuff up to trained.
worth a look at.
Yes. 26 Cavalry Scout Platoon. Hey, it's the Filipino Scouts.
Oh, okay,
Instead of the dismount, you can have 7 men with rifles, and
okay,
I just think that's cool.
that's neat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
And then we have the Filipino Rifle Platoon. They're reluctant. They have garbage rifles.
Hmm.
But you get 10 of them, and they're cheap.
And it's quite cool. So this is basically doing, let's say, the battle for the Philippines in
Yes,
late
they've
1941. So effectively, it's early war
yeah.
kind of. But yes.
Yes. So they've added the stuff for the people who are like, well, I want to do the invasion of the Philippines. Well, here's the stuff for the local Philippine stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't remember. I don't think that there might be a Filipino rifle company, if I remember right. I don't
Yeah,
remember off the top of my head, unfortunately.
yeah. I don't think the advice I put the M2s in either, but
Yeah.
it's close enough.
Yes, but that's what we get for US
Americans.
command cards.
Yeah.
Americans, yeah.
So other than disappointment of them not doing the Sherman kit, I was hoping for was relying on do my Italian Brits. It's actually that's no, that feels like again a fairly good representative section for doing Pacific Americans. All feels
Yes.
very flavoursome.
Yeah, and there's for the record, there's a bunch of hero cards. I just don't like any of those heroes. So I didn't put them in. But there's several Marines and some Army guys in there for you to squeal over. I'm looking through the stuff. There is a Philippine rifle company, 1 HQ, 2 to 3 platoons, 1 unit of machine guns, 1 mortar platoon.
Right.
And what's interesting is the only thing that changes is the rifle platoon, because the HQ and the machine gun and mortars call out the U.S. Army rifle company stuff.
Mhm.
So only your actual platoons will be reluctant, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, there's a whole lot. If you They sell all the US cards together, and it's like 66 cards
Mhm.
according to the catalog. It's a whole lot of stuff because, well, the other big stars of the Pacific are it's the Marines. I'm never gonna let it go. Uh, so moving on, turns out the Brits were also here in the Pacific.
Do a little bit.
Behold, the British and Indian force. So this is like your Burma end
Correct.
of the Pacific
I mean, Australians are
instead of
Papua New Guinea and that kind of thing. Yeah.
correct. Yeah. So the Australians have a whole different force org chart, which is why we've split them off instead of lumping them in like the Americans with the Marines and
Yeah,
the
because
Army.
fundamentally, the Americans and Marines are always fighting the same battles, basically, for the
Yes.
most part. Whereas, obviously, like I say, this is separated by several thousand kilometers of water, basically.
Right. So there's a British Rifle Company and Indian Rifle
Mhm.
Company, Honey Stewart's, Grants / Lee's,
Yeah, but it means
implying that we get the extra stupid turret on some of these.
they are. See, all the Grant and Lees are basically being taken from North Africa and shipped to the Pacific. So the
Right.
Grants were the initial batch, and obviously we got the Lees later on. But generally, we took off the stupid Capone machine gun because it just made for a stupidly tall turret.
Don't you worry. There's a command card to put those stupid
I
Cupola
know.
machine guns
But I
back
kind of
on.
realized putting the extra machine gun was kind of handy in this theater. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. As far as the force work chart goes, 325 pounders.
Same as Africa. It annoys me slightly because it feels like it should be 2 or 4. Yeah, having a 12
Yes.
gun battery is a bit of a weird thing.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
if I eight batteries 8, so I expect either
Mm.
2 or 8. But this might as a scout.
Observation post.
Yep.
You know, 2 troops of Valentines, 6 pounders, 20 mils, hurricanes, recce of either Marmon Harrington armored cars, which
Which are awful.
we're well, hold on, wait till we get to them in the book because I actually like them.
Okay. I
Uh,
still think they're awful, but okay.
Universal carriers, Indian pattern characters, Indian pattern carriers, and Indian universal carriers.
Yeah.
And obviously, the second recon is the exact same, except you don't get the option of the Marmon Harrington. You may field 1 compulsory unit from a U.S. or Australian formation as support and 1 U.S. or Australian formation as an allied force.
Yeah, because there were British units with the Australians, and
Yes.
I think there's British units with the Americans as well, but less to a much lesser extent.
Yeah.
I think most of
So,
it's British Navy rather than actual army, but okay.
mm.
And then the
So
Valentine, because apparently you can't have Matildas.
yes. I'm sure when early war hits and the Matildas are released in whatever they're releasing them in, they'll put out cards to put them in Pacific
I hope so. I really hope so. Because I mean,
and desert.
The Valentines get used for one battle, were a complete failure and never used again. It's just like it's such a weird thing to have in there.
Yeah, but I think on tabletop the Valentines are actually going to be really good because they're 6'5".
Yeah.
You're just going to drive them straight into Japanese troops and laugh the whole way to the bank because they don't have very good AT. It turns out.
No.
So the secondary weapon, hey, look, it's
Same as North Africa. Yep.
yeah. Mike target, same as we've seen
Mhm.
before.
I think a new thing here is Indian infantry war cry.
Yes.
So there was an Indian command card in Africa. I think this is basically doing a lot of what that was doing on that command card.
I think so.
And yeah, I should double check it before this episode. I have to look at for the
So yeah, enemy units must reroll their first successful motivation check to counterattack an enemy with a unit with war cry.
I love
Like,
it.
hey, I really hope you're not, if you've got some people who do not want to be there, it's going to be bad news bears for you
Mm.
to. That being said, like it also gives you a decent chance of the Japanese flubbing it because they're pretty much fearless.
I know. Well, and also their Navy ones are fearless. In fact, they were like 2+, weren't they, or something on the counterattacks.
Yes. So this gives you something of a chance.
Yeah.
Deadly and Bulldog are still here. Classic British things.
I mean, that said, so in Burma, it should really be more army than navy you're facing. But yes.
Sure. So should have a better time of it.
Yeah.
If everyone's playing historically, which we all know, no one ever doesn't play historically in this game. Anyway, the rifle company. Hey, it's
pretty standard apart from like say we have 2 pounders as well as not.
we got the 2 pounders instead of the 6 pounders.
Oh, and there's
here.
2 boxes. So normally only motor guys get 2 boxes. So having 2 boxes in a rifle company is also pretty neat.
Yeah. And of course, 4 Apex Predator cards or slots. Vickers 3-inch mortar. Hey, look. Tell me if you've seen these before. Well, actually, you know what? Confident green aggressive.
But see, that's the thing. This is what makes it different to a normal British one. They are green and aggressive.
Yes, and they're not like war weary. They don't have weird motivation penalties like the Brits normally do.
No, but they are very much a green force compared to normal rifles.
Yeah, confident green aggressive.
Also, like say, boys and 2-inch mortars are optional extras rather than compulsory.
Yes. Yeah, but 5.7, so the sizes will stay the same. I don't know about buying the 2-inch, but the boys is definitely something I would spend points on.
The 2-inch is fair to save the other units. That's what 2-inch mortar does.
Yeah, but when you have to pay for the 2-inch mortar now, I'm like, it's a thing to think about.
Yeah.
The 3-inch mortar is still unfortunately green, as is the Vickers. The Vickers still has its neat little party trick of firing a barrage.
Yep.
I don't think 6 is a normal option for mortars with the British, is it?
Yeah, in the rifles it is. Yeah.
All right then. But yeah, classic 3-inch mortar, 1-4 smoke bombardment. It's green,
It's six
lots of
mortars.
green.
Yeah, six mortars. Effectively, two mortars were assigned to every company. But
Mhm.
so the battalion to have six mortars in total.
Right. Vickers machine gun again. Neat little party trick of having an indirect.
Hmm.
So if they're staying out of that 2 feet, you can still play around with your Vickers, which I always think is a cool thing.
Yep.
Uh, I don't know why I thought the 2-pounders had canister.
Yeah, it's not really a British thing, canister. No HE as well. But like I say,
It
this
might
thing
be the Australian. It must be then I'm convinced some
maybe.
2-pounders have canister. It must be the Australians.
Yeah. But like I say, against you know, Japanese tanks, this thing is going to reap.
Yeah. I don't see the point in bringing a 6-pounder unless you want that extra 4 inches of range. But I think 2-pounders, especially for the discount, is wait. Also has turntable.
Yeah. The only thing the 6 pound does have is a HE round,
Yes. So
which can make it a bit more versatile. But I still think I'd go with the 2 pounder. I have machine guns and mortars for shooting infantry.
sure. But I think like cheap enough, good enough is kind of why I think the 2-pounders actually have a place here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the little things.
Mhm.
Plus a new cool plastic model. So
Yeah, you can get a jump on early for your early wars.
mhm.
Have these guys. Hey, look, it's a Universal Carrier Patrol. You can in fact buy boys AT rifles for them.
Yeah, at least ones can. Yeah.
Hmm.
Tank 4, 5 power 5. You can go kill some Japanese tanks with that.
You can just drive up and you can just nail a Japanese tank from the front armor.
Mhm.
Most of them.
Well, all of
Even then,
them.
you still
Yeah.
have an op. Well, one of them you can only bail
True.
because
Yeah.
the good Japanese tank has a front armor of 3, but still.
Yeah.
Uh, Apex predators once again in the hills of Burma. And then we've got the Indian
Yep.
rifle. Same setup, except you can also get the Indian pattern carriers for 3 of your 4. The 4th slot is still just universal carriers.
Yeah.
What's interesting is there's an Indian 2-pounder, but the 6-pounder is basically you're borrowing some British guys.
Correct. Yeah. Like it's basically no, actually, yeah, it must be Byron British guys. Normally, that's say done at a divisional level. I'm surprised it's actually in there like that.
The Indians are fearless, green, and aggressive.
Which is a good combo.
I mean that is a combo we've seen before. Warcry is back here. Fearless green. Deadly. So they do get you get the bonus to assault.
Yeah.
So that makes them pretty useful. Again, you have to buy the boys and the 2-inch mortar.
Other than that, it's like I
Same.
say, pretty standard. I think the big things give different going to be their carrier when we get to it.
Yeah, you got the fearless. Fearless green aggressive. Hey, look, it's the Vickers machine gun.
Hmm.
So yeah, so the 6-pounder is just the British guy, so they won't be fearless.
Yeah.
But it's the 2-pounder again. They're fearless this time. Here's the Indian pattern compared to the Universal.
They're basically
Uh,
trading ability on the road from ability over to cross terrain.
yeah. Aside from that, same weapon layout, same
Hmm.
soft stats, same hard stats. The only difference here is speed, and the Indian pattern carrier looks way cooler.
Yes. Well, it's one of those nice, like sort of expediency design. So you universal carriers building a track vehicle was considered building capability. So modifying truck chassis into having an armor structure was the way
Much
forward.
faster.
Mm.
Yeah. But unlike other armor cars, we've seen 4-up cross, which
Yeah,
is not bad.
and it's tactical. That's better than a white scout car.
Also true. Hey, look, it's the Grantleys.
Yeah. So
Uh,
these obviously
one
did see
HQ, 2 to
service,
4.
but
Yeah.
like I say, very late in 1944, they sort of arrive. Sorry, not 1943. So you're just scraping into mid-war. But confident
Well,
train, careful.
this
That's
is saying that they formed in India in 41.
the regiment did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the actual
October 42, they shipped the stuff over. So yeah, like 43,
Mhm. Yeah.
they're coming in here.
Mhm. I like to say, I mean, absolutely perfect tech. perfectly good tank for the Burma conflict versus what they're facing.
Yeah, and you could mix in some Lees
Hmm.
to fill out, to give you a little fun. But these guys are confident, trained, and careful.
Yeah.
Finally, some careful guys who are trained.
Hmm. I think a
But
downside with Lee in this kind of terrain is it's cross four was obviously, Matilda
the
be
Sherman
cross two.
is oh sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, 5-4. This is a threat to, and I think like Lee's and Grants are extra of a concern to Japan because you get the freebie shot of the 37.
Both guns are gonna kill you.
Yeah, like it's not like in the desert where you're like, why do I want to shoot this 37? I mean, I guess I can. Maybe he'll roll a 1.
I mean, you play Italian as a British player, you tend to face Italians a bit more often. But yes,
Sure, but fun times.
mhm.
The 37 actually useful in this setup.
There's still a
Hey, look,
canister.
the Boarhound is here.
I mean, I like the idea of the Boreham, but again, I just
Potential combat service. Uh, anyway,
they would have been a disaster in the Pacific
yeah,
campaign. Just for sort of disasters. Yeah, Mum and
yeah.
Harrington.
Okay, Marvin Harrington. These have machine guns and a boy's anti-tank rifle.
So's a Humber. The Humber does it better.
The Humber is not in this book,
Unfortunately, not.
but yeah, the
But
5-up cross is really fucking brutal here.
and Tactical 8. It's just like anytime you see an armored car with Tactical 8, I just lose interest.
Yeah, I just think like uh the fact that it has a boy's AT rifle and a machine gun makes it especially good for this particular theater.
Yeah, but I mean, Universal Carrier has a boys, and it's cross 4 and Tactical 10,
Yeah, but
and
but
and
but
the
you
same
you
front
give up
armor.
the machine gun to get the
They
boys.
don't. The Universal Carrier, you don't give it the machine gun, it's additional.
Is it?
Hmm.
Huh. It's probably way more expensive. But confident, green, aggressive. Hey, look, Valentine's confident, trained, careful.
Yeah, it even
Uh,
mentions the fact they get used once and dished in the flavor text. Sorry, yeah, but
sure. But I think like from a gameplay standpoint, these are going to be a nightmare for Japanese players.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. But yeah, there's a reason they don't appear in historic history, but obviously our cross free, which is better than what the league can produce. The 2 pounder, absolutely adequate. Still no HE. We got machine guns.
You've got machine guns.
Mhm.
You can just wade into people.
Yeah,
Who's
just
gonna get
bully
you?
him. Just bully
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
The Hurricane.
Yay!
Behold, it's
It sh
good.
it is. It shows the cannon arm one, but it's not the cannon arm one at all. It's the 30 cal
It's
arm
it's the
one,
it's the 303s. Yeah.
which is good for straight infantry, but that's about it. Because unfortunately, the 30 cal rifles not good. But you are trained
Yeah,
to,
but it's trained, so you'll be leaning on the bombs
yeah,
more likely than not. 20 mil AA.
yeah, it's perfectly adequate.
Yep. Confident, green, aggressive.
So they're
You can
both
have
of us.
6 of them though. That's a lot.
It is, yeah. It's a decent sized platoon.
Yeah. So to the cards, um, you can in fact there is a command card that just lets you take a straight up a North Africa British Rifle Company.
Yeah. Now this card here, this is what if you want to start doing stuff like Operation Crusader or any other sort of like any of the early 1942 battles for mid-war. This is great for doing in Africa. You get the 2 pounder, you get all these guys in, throwing on some Stuarts. So
Yes. But basically it's take the stuff out of North Africa. There's a command card to get you a couple
veteran 2 pounders, yeah.
veteran 2 pounders. But yes, there is in fact you do not if you insist on playing British, you do not have to suffer with
You don't have to make it life harder than it
green
needs to be.
aggressive infantry.
Yeah.
The Gurkhas are here.
Yes. And trained.
Yes, they're trained, they're careful, they assault on twos,
As he should. Big old
as they
knives.
should. Uh they have commando and mountaineers. We
Hmm.
all know what mountaineers are. They just have mountaineer. We all know what mountaineer is.
Yeah.
There's the Chindits. The
Hmm.
Chindits are here, everyone. Everyone would be upset if we didn't show off the Chindit card at least a little bit. Uh, HQ 2 to 4 platoons. Command card for all that other extra stuff.
Hmm.
I think I only show off the sabotage platoon because the rest of that is just
It's
adjust
just
the stats of existing stuff.
exactly. They weren't special forces per se,
Yeah.
but they were a very hard hitting brigade.
Right. So here's the card that changes up the rifle platoons. They become fearless, trained, careful. They assault on threes.
Mhm.
You lose bulldog, but you're fearless now, so who
Who
cares?
cares? Yeah.
Yeah.
I must admit, I do want to do a Chindits force. I mean, it's one, especially the new models with the slouch hats and everything.
That's right. They also they get Mountaineer. There's a card that says all the
Yeah.
cheetah stuff gets Mountaineer.
Hmm.
The sabotage platoon. It's 3 Bren Gun and Smelly teams. They assault on twos. They get Pioneer, so they can clear minefields.
It's just three guys.
It's just 3 guys though, and I'm like, this is not good.
I
Uh,
mean, with the Pioneer and the Mountaineers, you can probably do some interesting things for clearing minefields and that to clear the way for the other guys. But yeah, it's a very specific use
it's a
scenario.
very specific use case. And then finally, the first hero I'm going to show off. It's
Phyrexian.
it's a hero universal carrier.
Oh God, yeah, I noticed it. Awesome. Remount
A
of two
universal
plus.
and Indian pound, Indian universal or a Indian pattern carrier.
Mhm.
But remounts on twos, the unit leader hits on threes and assaults, and I'm like, this is fun. I'm sorry. This is just fun.
Driving with one hand and firing his brain gun with the other. That's awesome.
I'm just saying, a whole unit of machine guns of I think this is the first time we've had a universal carrier hero. Obviously there's been
Yeah.
some tank ones before, but I think this is really silly and
Mhm.
fun.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I do like an out of ordinary warrior.
Yeah, so again, if I've also shared a couple of Australian heroes too because
Mhm.
oh man, you know what? I did not I've made a mistake. I did not have the honeys. I forgot to show off the honeys,
Oh yeah, but
the
it'd just be
stewards.
a standard British Stuart. Like say North Africa, you're in North Africa. I thought you'd be skipping it because there's just nothing different. The grants just show.
No, I just forgot to put them in, I guess.
Honeys are
Let me just
awesome, and they're still awesome.
yeah, let me just very quickly scroll through the book very quickly to make sure that there isn't anything wild I'd want to bring up.
Find out how big the HQ is. It's still four Stuarts and
It's
platoon.
4-3, the troops are 3,
Yeah,
confident, trained, careful.
yeah. It's
You
all the
know,
same as
1
Africa.
HQ, 2 to 4 platoons or troops.
And just
So yeah,
Stuarts. There's
there's
no grants in it, is
it's
there?
just Stewarts.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's all just Stewarts. So I think I've gotten away with that one then.
Yeah, for now.
For now,
But yeah, so last but not least, the Aussies and
finally. So Australians are shockingly filled out compared to other nations here.
they're shockingly
Rifle
filled out because
company.
they got two units that shouldn't be in the book. Just go put that
What?
out.
What? No, no. Militia rifles, regular rifles, commando independent companies, which
Yep.
I think are a little interesting. Grants, Stewarts, and Sentinels. Yes. I love Sentinels. They're so stupid. Still a bunch of 25 pounders. Uh, you've got some, carrier
Hmm.
slots, some 2 pounders, Bofors, militia Bofors, and Kitty Hawks.
Yeah, interesting. You get the 40 mils rather than the 20 mils for the Australians. They got the proper full sized AA.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a command card to get those 20s to replace with
I
40
think
mil
so.
Bofors.
Yeah,
Hey, look, Mike
canister. There you are.
Target, canister, deadly, determined, Mountaineers, flamethrowers. Hey, we've seen all these rules before.
Hmm. On to the action.
Mm-hmm. The rifle company. So HQ 2 to 3 platoons, mortars 2 choices of Vickers.
Yeah, but whereas the Brits had one Vickers, two 2-pounders, it's the way you get two Vickers and a one 2-pounder.
Yes.
Mhm.
Universal carriers, and then a dismounted carrier patrol, a
Yeah,
platoon. Yeah.
it's interesting to see. But like I say,
The
Junks Papua New
Australians,
Guinea makes sense.
yeah. Confident, veteran, careful.
Yep.
The HQ are armed with a standard smelly
So
team.
this is a step up from the command card in North Africa. The command card for the Anzacs in North Africa, they had the improved rally of 3 plus, but they were only trained like most other British infantry were. So
Yes.
a veteran here, which means deadly 2 plus means
Yes.
stick it in
The
them.
Australians are here.
Mhm.
They're here and they're upset. But
Yes.
yeah, you got to buy the boys in the 2-inch. But
Yep.
rally on 3s, assault on 2s. Pretty nasty infantry. The mortar's very good. 2 or 4. You're veteran now, so you'll actually hit things.
Interesting, like I say, this is where you probably say about the six gun platoon. Here, it's only a 4-gun platoon for the mortars, which is
Hmm
interesting.
The Vickers looking extra tasty now because
It's
now
veteran, yeah.
the bombardment is better.
hmm
And either way, you want machine guns to deal with charging Japanese
I like
platoons.
to say having 2 platoons of them. This could be fairly nasty.
Yeah, we'll come back to the patrols and
Yeah,
whatnot. The militia, same setup, except you don't get the dismount option on the
yeah.
universe on the 4th universal carrier slot. These guys are confident, trained, aggressive,
Mhm.
so a little cheaper.
So
They
still
still
better
have
than the
deadly and
default
rally.
Brits because they're trained rather than
Still
green.
better than default
Yeah,
Brits.
and you still get a 3 plus rally, the 3 plus deadly. So
Yep.
this is by no means a bad option.
hmm
I can't remember what the points difference is between them and the normal ones, but it's
Not that much, but
no,
enough to think
there
about.
is. No, it adds up.
hmm
Obviously, it makes the mortars
Mortars.
a bit more trickier because yeah.
Yeah, but you're trained. You're not green like the British are. So
Hmm.
still better.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Vickers, 2-pounders. They don't get canisters either.
Well, that's because the 2-pound. They do get HE round,
Yes.
so obviously they managed to get stocks of that. But there was never a canister round for the 2-pounder.
Mm.
There's
I
only
don't know
ever.
why I thought the canister had 2-pounders. Oh well.
I think because the Stuarts and the 37 have it.
Right,
Hmm.
right. Uh Universal carriers, you can buy boys rifles for
Yeah.
them.
So it's arm any US carrier with boys anti-tank
Oh yeah,
rifles.
yep.
It doesn't
Okay,
replace.
so you can
It's not unlike that Japanese tank earlier where it specifically says it replaces it.
mm,
It's just a additional gun because basically the whole machine gun just went to the back and then they had a boys anti-tank rifle at the front.
right. The Commando Independent Company. Look, it's 2 to 8 commando sections in the Commando Scout section.
Hmm?
Fearless Veteran, careful. HQ is only 1 stand.
Yeah.
Got to be careful with that. The Commando sections, they're all 5 men unit space with Mountaineers. Fearless Veteran,
Yeah.
careful.
I think this is where you
Uh,
added the light mortar just to bulk that platoon out.
yes. But the thing is you can only get this up to 7 because this is replacing Bren and Smelly teams with ON SMGs
Yeah.
and replacing a Bren team with a flamethrower.
Hmm.
So other than the boys in the 2-pounder, you're never getting more guys. You're just changing the weapons around.
I do kind of wish that submachine gun team had been like a limited 2 thing. So you have to worry about where they
That
are
would
in the
have been
platoon.
way better, I
Yeah.
think. But what are you gonna do? And then the scout section, which is you can give them some SMGs.
Hmm.
You can have 3 or 5 of them. They've got Mountaineer, Scout, Spearhead, Fearless Veteran, careful. Uh, this is a interesting thing. This could have been a command card.
Yeah, especially because the Australians are already veteran and hit on 2s. They're fearless 3
I
plus.
would take
Okay.
regular rifles though, because
I
I could
would
get more
exactly. I'd just take
guys.
more Australians. Yeah, I'm not seeing a
Yeah,
compelling case for
like,
the commandos.
and there's support weapons in that formation, unlike this
Mhm.
where it's just these guys but a bunch of them.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Owen machine guns, but I just kind of wish they had been.
Yeah.
It's not compelling. So the grants. So
Hey, the grants are here.
yes, they shouldn't be. The Australians had grants. They had quite a lot of grants. They all stayed in Australia. They never actually got deployed into combat.
Yeah, but you have the option of
Mhm.
making your second one a Stewart.
Yep. This is
So
very
grants
much
and
more like a
Stewart.
this is very much more like a North Africa Grant platoon. You got the big
Yeah.
platoon of Grants. You got the Stuart platoon on the second compulsory box.
Yeah.
Confident, trained, careful.
Yep. No canister on these 37s.
No, no, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Like I say, especially when the Stuarts get it.
Hey, look, it's the Stewarts.
Yep.
You can't put a Grant in.
Mm-hmm.
3,
Shouldn't.
4, confident, trained, careful. Hey, look, they have canister.
And look at that. Overall, Stuarts proved too light to force his way through the Newgate jungle and was superseded by Matilda later in the war. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm pretty sure that Matilda appears in mid-war. Maybe it doesn't appear to late war. I'll have to look up later. Maybe that's why it's not going to be included. 'Cause it wasn't quite in mid-war. So, mind you, but they got other things that weren't quite mid-war on this island.
Sure. Look, beautiful sentinels.
I mean,
Beautiful
I love the
sentinels.
Sentinel as a thing, but again, it's just like it's fancy
It's got the
tanks.
dick on the front.
Ah, yes. We're going to use the Vickers machine gun. It's going to be so because it's
I'm
the
a
Vickers.
child, yes.
It's because they use the Vickers rather than the Bisa. And obviously, the Vickers has a big water jacket around it, so it needs a lot more armoring. But you do end up with what looks like a bell end for a machine gun thing. So I'm sorry, have to say it. It looks like
Yeah.
that.
But it's basically the Valentine, except it crosses better and it moves faster. It's a fast
Yes,
Valentine.
that's a bad Valentine. I don't.
It's a Valentine
Again,
that crosses on 3 and tacticals 10. It's perfect.
I feel it's been a little flattered on the armor stats. Not quite sure it's that good. It's basically a cruiser tank, but
It was a cruiser thing that had a lot of armor. I think like 5.4 would have been
I think
probably a closer historically.
yeah, because it's not like it's very well. I mean, the front is pretty well shaped, but the turret's a disaster for shaping.
Uh, sure, but it
But
gets
gets a
better.
6 pounder
Don't.
because that's why it was. So by the
Well,
way, two
this is
pounder here,
the HQ only gets 2 pounders. Two
but
pounders, great, not overworked.
no HE either. Sorry, it hasn't got no HE is what I'm going to say. So it
Yes,
makes it a much more viable gun at this point.
yes. Same thing.
Yeah,
No, 3.
perfectly respectable tank. Yeah,
Uh, the 6 pounder. You'll
and
notice that there's one very fun inclusion here, which is you can put a 25 pounder in one of these.
so when I saw this, when I saw the Sentinel was coming, I joked to Mike about having the CS tanks be 25, the twin
With
25 pounder.
the two 25 pounders,
They ha
yes.
they haven't quite gone that crazy. They just gone with a single 25 pounder and put it in as a CS, bit like how the Crusader had a CS, a Crusader CS tank and then two Crusader 2 pounders. This is very much the same thing, but 6 pounders and 25 pounders.
Yes, but there's no indirect. It's
No,
only the direct fire on the 25 pounder, which is hey, 18-9 3 up, and it's got smoke.
yep,
I mean,
it's still
I
25
don't
pounder.
know. Yeah, it's still a 25 pounder. Little you lose a little bit on the range, but I love the fact that they're like you can put the 25 pounder in here. If they
I
let me put the 25 pounder in the 2 pounder troop, I would be
mhm.
all over having two pounders and a 25 pounder. Mix them with the 6 pounders, I don't know.
Yes, I feel they're being a little bit flattering to the rate of fire on 25 pounder in this situation. I feel it should be a rate of fire one, slow firing one, the move because it's a lot of round we're putting into a it's a two-part round. Well, it's a two-part round. Maybe it does make it a bit handier. But either way, yeah. It's a fancy tank, whatever.
It's so funny. I love it.
I'm glad I got in, but it is just a resident metal kit, so have fun with building all those.
Oh God, it's gonna be a nightmare. Anyway, uh, hey, look, it's the Kitty Hawk
Yep.
and 25 pounders. We've seen these before, except the Kitty Hawk's got 50 cals.
And only confident veteran careful in 25 pounder, or is it not raw host? That's probably, I think the British ones were the same. I don't think raw hostelry.
No, they were green, I think.
But 25 pounds, I'll have to look at later. But maybe, yeah. Generally,
But
25 pounders tend to have a better stat, but
we could double check for. I'm gonna double check ever so quickly. Hold on.
I think, like I say, there's a command card for.
They're confident, trained, careful.
Yeah, okay, it's slightly better, yeah.
So these are slightly better because they're veteran, but
Hmm.
you're
And
gonna pay the
rallying
points for them.
and rallying free plus.
Yeah, you're gonna pay points for this.
I'm sure you will,
this
but
is an expensive 25 pounder.
all right, but I mean a standard desert 25 pounder is 14. That's fearless veteran careful, so it's got to be slightly cheaper than that.
You know what? Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say this book has given us reasonably costed 25 pounders, including in Americans.
Yes. I just mentioned the short 25 pound, the jungle 25 pound, the short 25 pounder, which I think is a command card as well.
Mm.
Which basically is just like a stripped down 25 pounder with no gun
There
shield.
is a short 25-pounder command
Hmm.
card somewhere in there.
Yeah,
I don't think I put that in there. OP Bofors.
I love Bofors.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Uh,
against Japanese
you
tanks, it's
can
like
only
awesome.
have the OP if you bring a 25-pounder.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the option of militia Bofors. So
Bit cheaper.
confident, veteran, careful, confident, trained, aggressive.
I
So,
think when it comes to guns like this, I think I prefer to go for the full fat ones and have the actual careful ones. But obviously, if you're doing a themed list, it's nicer than militia.
yeah. And then moving on to a few command cards I think were fun.
Hmm.
This one,
Bruce,
Rifle Platoon.
most Australian
Bruce!
Australian name ever. Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes from a Bren, right? It goes from, an MG rifle team to a full MG team. And he gets to reroll the shots when shooting. I think it's actually kind of good, I think.
Yep.
Because like it's a way to get more firepower into a not very expandable rifle platoon.
Hmm.
Local porters, uh, Mountaineers is kind of whatever, but it's kind of a cheap card. But if you notice the first thing, it says add 4 inches to the dash movement of this unit.
Yeah.
That's fast. So you can take,
Get
infantry
your
and
little
gun
two
teams and
pounders
make them
moving
fast.
around.
You can
Yes.
get those 2-pounders blazing around.
Hmm.
And then finally, the last guy I want to look at is it's the engineer platoon. Hey, crosses minefield, barbed wire on 2+, digs in on a 2+. It's only the rifle teams, but I just wanted to point them out because you can have 10 or 13 guys in here.
So, but way back in the mist of time when there were dedicated rule engineer platoons, they were big platoons. They were rifle arms. It's nice to see this come back as that kind of thing.
Yes, but it's the same ratings as the rifle platoon, meaning
Oh, so, British ones. So they'd be green.
no, no,
Oh
no,
no,
no, no,
sorry, is it
no. These are
Australians? Yes,
Australians.
yes, yes.
So MAU 102,
Yeah. Mao.
MAU 102. So these
Okay,
are
cool. So
Australians.
yeah, that's pretty
So
bad
this
then.
is confident, veteran, careful, rallying on 3s, assaulting on 2s, and you get 13 guys. This is an assault section, Lee. I don't care what anyone says. These guys are going forward to hit people.
Especially crossing minefields. Yeah, you get clear
Yeah.
minefield. Nope, go stab someone in the face.
So yeah, they're shooting. Terrible. Who cares? That's 13 dudes who rally on 3s and assault on 2s
Yeah,
coming in.
I got the
So
thickest
it's
machine guns
limited. So you
yet.
can only ever have the one.
One's all you need.
One is all you need.
There we
So
are.
that's what we've got for a few command cards. Because again, there's like 200 command cards in this book. We're not going over all of them, especially when I hate 65% of them.
Yes. But like I say, it's a shame because there are some really cool command cards in there. It's like very much the same as the later like Avante and Fighting First, where they sort of started focusing more on historical cards, but still had their X-wing cards in as well. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
this is more the same. So
yeah.
they are.
There's a lot of cool stuff to look forward
This.
to in this.
Mhm.
I'm excited. Do we want to go through the catalog really quick?
Quickly, yeah, we got probably I need to shut. Let's just have a quick squiz through. So the catalog,
Okay.
like for D-Day compilation, is a separate thing now. Um,
Yes.
which is good. It means you've got more page count for stuff that's worthwhile in the book, and the catalog can be a
Mhm.
separate thing. But it's interesting. So lots of
So yeah. So 38 unit cards, 30 command
mhm,
cards.
lots of
Rising
things.
Sun dice. Uh, Not Rising Sun tokens, but if you look, the Rising Sun tokens come with the limited time. I'm assuming these are limited time boxes.
Yeah.
I think that's the direction Battlefront is going.
Mhm.
We've kind of seen it here, but here it is broken down. 2 full platoons, 3 Type 97s, 3 Type 98s.
Mhm.
You get 20 of the dice. Some limited edition tokens. I don't know what the objective markers are. They haven't shown those off.
Oh
But
yeah.
you get the 70s, the 75s, and
I'm going to assume
The
because
47s.
not showing a scenic objective, it's going to be that rising sun on like a flat token, like they've done for the U.S. Marine Corps and the Volksgrenadiers and
Mm,
that kind of thing.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Like I say, on the next episode, we will be doing a tier list to update the mid-war tier list to add in these new boxes. So,
Including the new late war
oh,
two-player starter.
yeah, we'll look at that
That's
one too.
more
Yeah,
in theme with was a lot closer to what Team Yankee's doing than what Hit the
yeah.
Beach has done.
We'll go into next episode. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
as you can see, no, all the
None of these are labeled
tanks.
plastic. They're all
Yes,
resin metal monstrosities. But
someone has.
nice knowing that they come in threes.
Yeah, one of the stores had put up plastic on their thing. Everyone got very excited. I think it must be a mistake because they're not showing
Yes.
plastic here.
Yeah, they would have said plastic. The tankettes come in fives, which is
Yeah,
nice. Uh, I thought these things only maxed out at 4, but I might be wrong.
maybe it was five, but I really don't
Maybe it was
care.
5, but yeah.
Fancy tank.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Oh, so you get three of those amphibious tanks in a box. That's not so bad, but it's
That's
still
not so bad, but
it's gonna be a pricey box, I reckon. I reckon that'd be a 20 quid, 25 quid box or so.
yeah. The actual use of the this is the funniest thing to me. This is the funniest thing in the world to me, Lee. Look at this. Now, first of all, it's not labeled plastic.
Which it clearly is, but yes.
Second of all, 2 Tiger tanks, Lee.
Hmm.
How many Tiger tanks did Japan buy? What's
One,
the allow one?
yeah.
So it sells you an extra Tiger tank for no reason.
Is the unit just one or is the unit two?
The unit is 1.
Okay.
It is a singular Tiger tank. So my recommendation is buy a World of Tanks Tiger tank if
Yes.
you want one for your Japanese army, and then just paint it accordingly.
Or if you want for the Japanese army, just consider your life choices and go to a different hobby.
Yeah, but get these self-propelled guns instead. They were actually used.
Yes. For late war.
Yeah. The infantry platoon.
Cool
It
figures.
doesn't show in the picture, but the flamethrowers do come. It just says not shown here.
All right, yeah. Like I
So the
say,
flamethrowers are here. The mortars, including the extra one you buy.
mhm,
The anti-tank rifle, the HMG, the rifles.
yeah.
Uh, comes with the formation command, which has that beautiful banner that you definitely want to spend the points for. I think.
And you can see the guys with the little banners on their rifles as well, which is the other command card. So
Yes.
these were white metal figures, really cool figures back at the time. So it's good to see these come back.
Mm-hmm. Machine guns, AA4s, coming in fours. The stuff that the 37 and the 47, which are the rapid fire gun platoon, we didn't go over because I forgot to edit the points.
Yeah. But best,
I hope you guys enjoyed the giant black box that Lee just throws over half the screen for like 30 seconds. The 70s and the 75s also come in twos because that's their formation size. It's not actually being sheeted.
mhm.
The 81s come in fours, very nice. The 75s, the 105s come in twos because that's how Japan rolls. The 75s come in twos, so you're probably gonna want to buy 2 of them, but they at least minimum 2. Hey, look, the Trabuc pits and the bunkers are all back.
Mhm.
Anti-tank pillboxes. I like how this one is like, here's some German gun barrels to come with it.
Yeah. Well,
Wouldn't even bother giving you a Japanese gun barrel, but hey,
put that 7.5 barrel. Yeah.
I don't know why they've renamed the Trabuc to the Trabuc pits to pack nests.
No, that's the Brook nests were the little ones, the machine gunners. For the pack nests were
Oh
always
yeah,
these
yeah,
ones.
yeah. Okay. The Americans, hey look, classic Green Star is
Yep.
back. 66 command cards. Like I said, they had more than anyone else, and that
Hmm.
the Brits are all jammed together. The limited tokens are these Eagle Globe and Anchors in green.
Cool little
You get a
box.
couple platoons, get your HQ. You do get the 2 self-propelled guns. You get some 37s. You get some Stewarts. Pretty solid starter box. We'll go over it in more detail
Hmm.
next time.
Some might say a solid Starbucks.
I don't know about that. It suffers the stain of the Marine Corps on it. Anyway, the rifle platoon, uh, Marine rifle platoon, excuse me.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Interesting.
look,
You don't get all the attachments. The attachments come as a separate section, but then
yeah,
gives you.
it's 10 guys. And then the attachments, the bazooka, the 60 mil, the flamethrowers, the machine guns, those all come separately. These are most likely going to be white metal.
Yeah. Oh, they are white
Um,
metal. Yeah.
okay. The assault engineer section, your flamethrowers, and your ablative marines. The Pack 75, which the US stuff, the 75 and the 105s come with
Presumably
observers.
the plastic guns with a metal infantry with metal
I would
crew.
assume that.
Yeah.
Marine machine gun platoons, mortar platoons.
Yeah. So one thing we didn't mention was that the dog team card is the dog teams are still around the command card.
Yes.
But I think they're bringing figures back because it's more of a stand effect now. So
Yeah.
also Night Mill mortar, Night Mill gun team you can see there is a reason it's command card as well.
Yes, that is also a command card. They're sold individually though, so they will be pricey.
Yes.
Then there's the Marine 20s and the Marine 37s.
Mm-hmm.
And then all this stuff that's coming out in plastic. These are the Army stuff.
It's all hard plastic. Yep.
This is standard. Like this rifle company is is the U.S. rifle company they sell right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to play U.S. Army in the Pacific, you can start buying stuff and getting that Army going now. Because all the weird stuff comes from the Marines. Classic mortars.
Apart from the 37s.
Apart from the 37s.
But the 37s were around from North Africa. I can't remember now.
I could swear that the 37s were already in North Africa.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
105s. Warhawks.
Mm-hmm.
All plastic except for
The
obviously the
mortars.
Warhawks and these 38s. That's weird because that looks like the modern sculpts, and those are Cyocast.
Yeah, maybe not counting them as plastic and this is hard plastic. I don't know.
Maybe.
No, because
Hey, look,
HMGs.
Shermans.
Ugh.
I bet they have a different decal sheet, which is why this box is labeled Marine Sherman Platoon.
I bet so. But I was so excited when I saw Marine Shermans being a separate thing. I thought, that's cool. It must mean they're doing the small hatch.
Surprise.
No,
Regular Stewarts.
disappointed.
The interceptors are here for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Armored mortars. This is all desert stuff.
It's all
this
the
is all
Saul stuff. Yeah.
Except for these guys. I'm pretty sure
No,
these are.
they were a special order back when North Africa came out because there was a card. No, actually, not.
Was it? I don't think so. There was a community card.
But you're right. They didn't bring the miniature back. It was just if you had them
Right.
ready. So it's cool. So that's cool that they actually brought it back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The British cards, the decals include all the Brits, the Indians, and the Australians. It's the classic dartboard. 57 command cards.
Nearly as many as Americans because of getting its covering too.
And far more than the Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
The box does come with these 14 farming ones, these cool shields.
I'm not sure we've got a late war box. Everyone else got a mid war box, but okay.
What do you mean?
6 pounders and grants, yeah.
That's not late war.
It's practically late war. I'd say they arrived just at the end of 1943.
I don't see these things in D-Day, so that can't be late war. But yeah, 25 pounders, 6 pounders. So these are the quote unquote Far East infantry. These are the infantry with the slouch hats.
Look really, really cool. Want to get some of these?
Really, really cool.
I need another British Army like in a hole in my head when I think about it.
Yeah.
But
okay. The grants, it specifically calls out that it comes with a North Africa sheet. Mm-hmm. Yep. Universal carrier, sure. The Sentinels, they come in 3s. They come with all 3 turrets. So the 25, the 2, and the 6.
Yeah. Presumably, it's going to be a common turret and a different mantle or something with different. Yeah.
I think the 25 pounder looks different. Like there's definitely like something on the mantle here, but I think like the whole it might just be the camouflage playing tricks on my eyes, but the whole the turret itself looks a little different. Hey, look, Valentine's, Honeys, the Boarhound is still here for some reason. All right, so Far East platoons most likely going to be white metal.
Certainly,
but, you know, unit leader, 6 extra guys, boys, 2 pounder. This is where they decided to ship the observer team instead of with the artilleries. Sure. Because the American ones, the observers come with the artillery units.
Oh, you can do a whole bunch
and the
of
Brits,
extra
they come with the infantry. You're going to have so many extra observers. They can just be fun HQ stands instead.
I'll find lots of use for them. Or they can be on the mix up the crews, the guns, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Vickers in Far East, 3-inch mortars in Far East. So slouch hats all around.
Yeah.
Slouch hat 6 pounders, 2 pounders, and so 25 pounders.
I'm pretty sure back in Pete's video, he said the 2 pounds of new plastic 2 pounder with metal crew, but it doesn't say, obviously didn't say there. But the fact it says none of these are plastic, I'm going to assume are plastic guns, metal crew,
I would think that's a fair assumption because
or Psycast crew.
the
Look
six
like
pounders
metal
we've
though.
already had, those look like regular old 6 pounders to me.
Hmm.
We've definitely seen these 25 pounders before.
Yep.
So yeah, the 2 mil, here's the Bofors.
Yep.
Look, I didn't lie. Bofors are here. The Hurricanes and the Kitty Hawks are here.
Yep.
Marmon Harrington, the Indian patterns. So they do come at least in the threes that you need for an individual choice.
Hmm.
This is Australians direct order only. Australians in some slouch hats and some. These look
Shorts.
like they would be. This feels like they would be better off in the
Those,
desert.
yeah, those are the old North Africa models. So nice to see them back. I'm like, if people want to grab them for North Africa, it'd be a really good one. But
Mhm.
also, they brought back the Indian figures.
Yes,
Awesome.
they're all Sikhs apparently because they're all wearing the turbans.
Yeah, but yeah, it's probably over. But obviously, you use the standard British figures for doing the non-Sikh units. So
Sure, but you know, boys, 2 pound more, 2 inch mortar guys, formation
mhm.
command adds the formation guy.
Yeah.
Indian Vickers, Indian 3 inch. Um, I'm a little sad that there's not Australian, gun crews and whatnot, but
But well, mind you, they were wearing slouch hats anyway, so they could easily be Australians, just not wearing shorts. If you want. But like I say, the shorts were
yeah,
very much a North Africa thing. Everyone quickly
yeah,
realised minimizing exposed skin area is a really good thing in mosquito infested jungles.
yeah. So I don't know if I'm actually going to go in on these Australians
No, I think
because I feel like they'd be better for North Africa. I think I'm just going to buy the Far East infantry and just say they're Australians.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And get yourself some of the cool Australian dice that would just keep scrolling.
Oh, these cool
Yeah,
Australian dice.
yeah. I want to get some of these my Anzacs. I bet
They've
those.
brought back these awful first edition Team Yankee kangaroo dice.
Well, no, because these ones aren't that weird Dayglow green that the Team Yankee ones were. So
Okay. The Indian ones are cats for some reason.
Black Cat, because the division, Black Cat division.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here's the LVTs.
Hmm.
Here's all the landing crafts. The book does like have all the beach landing rules and such in there. It's got lots of beach landing stuff in the classic breakthrough assault time honored tradition of we should play missions in the back of the book. They're selling the cardboard punch out stuff again for beach defenses and landing crafts and that kind of stuff. So
Yep.
always a good place to start, I think.
Hmm. There you go.
And that's it for the catalog.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the Pacific book, I say, is bits that annoy me, say the fancy tanks, but Battlefront just like doing it. Just got to
This
live with it.
incredible fantasy tank. You can't say it's a fantasy tank. They built them. They existed.
They did build
There's
them.
one at there's you can go down to Bovington and look at one right now, Lee.
I have looked at it quite a few times. Yes. But ultimately they put the stuff in that should be there, but apart from Matilda, but I need to look see if Matilda's were late war or something. I say damn myself when they actually appeared in the Pacific.
It was the Matilda 2, correct?
Yeah, yeah. But other than that, certainly it's nice to find out a British section. That's why I know did it back in version 3 days because I was waiting for the promised web list for doing the British and Australians and never appeared. So that's in there now.
So it says that the Australians got their Matildas starting in 42. So
Okay.
plenty of time to show up in this book, even if you're like, okay, well, they get out into battle and they're in the New Guinea campaign.
Yes, that's why
which
I did
is in this book. So
and we got stuff that was just scraping into it in the being in it. So it annoys me when the Battlefront do this because the model isn't out. It's just like, but you're releasing the model. The model is coming.
Yes. Apparently there was a flamethrower variant called the Matilda Frog.
Yes.
Look at what I've learned on Wikipedia today. And there was a one called the Hedgehog, which was too tested but developed too late to see combat service. Okay, because I'm like, wait, there's an Avery Matilda. Hold on, an Avery Matilda would be cool.
These Matildas, there's quite a few test bed for various things that went into other tanks eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's good. I mean, it could be better, but for doing Pacific, I think it's a very good start. The fact it's all in one book.
Yes.
The new, the model support looks good. Hopefully, like I
I
said,
mean,
logistics
that
keeps
one
up.
book will be expensive. It'll be the size and price of the North Africa compilation, I'm willing
I
to
think it's
bet.
about 45 quid for the book, which it's
But you only have to buy the one book. So,
or you just buy the extra list and just go that way.
also true.
But bear in mind, if you get the book, you get the code to get the electric list. So,
Yes, yes. That's a lot of
but
lists.
mhm.
And considering they're like what, $7 a list? How much is a formation on forces nowadays?
I don't know. I haven't bought one in years.
Same. They were like, we're upping the prices, and I went, I'm gonna buy everything while it's still cheap.
Hmm.
And I don't want the printable thing because printer ink is comedically expensive. But let me see here. I can
Man looks things up on the internet.
man looks things up on internet. So it's $3 for a formation. And wait, is this because it's an upgrade? Hold on. Uh, build plus print price. No, it's like $3 a formation. Uh, I think getting literally all 4 armies worth of lists like in codes, I think it's worth the price of the book. TBH.
Hmm.
Uh,
So yeah, I'd say next episode we'll be looking at, like, say, the tier list, updating that.
yes. And we'll be a little more back to our normal off-topic Bancy behavior. It was a lot of stuff to go over, and we're recording this in advance, so this hopefully drops on the day the embargo goes down.
More or
So
less, yeah.
more or less.
Got to let the patrons have their preview first. So that's a. I think we'll try and get the podcast recorded as well. So you're going to hear me talk about this twice, possibly 3 times if I do the
Well,
live video with Rich and that kind of thing as well. So
look on the bright side. I've warmed you up for it.
you have, yeah. Send
Now,
me a link
now,
at the
now you've
time.
got some stuff rattling around in there to be like, wait a second.
Point out things I hadn't forgot about. Yeah, what
When
about
when
yes?
when Duncan inevitably goes, "What's the point of having canisters on the Stewarts?" And you're like, "Defensive fire."
Ah,
You'll
yes.
be ready. You'll be ready to make Duncan and Fez look
I'll
like
sound like I
stupid
know what I'm
idiots.
talking about. Yes. Always dangerous. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. As always, leave your comments below. So we do try and read them. We read all of them. We try to respond to all of them as well. And stay tuned because there should be another episode following on pretty quickly from this one. So
Yes.
I'm Lee signing off, and Mike.
Bye. Oh wait. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. I'm fueled by the good vibes of internet strangers like I'm Goku and Dragon Ball Z. Lend me your power for the content spirit bomb. Uh yeah, that wasn't one of my best jokes, but hey, I've been drinking all episode. The bottle does not want to whatever. It's a green bottle, it doesn't show up. I've been drinking all episode. So hey, next time. Bye.
By the way, make a Dragon Ball Z reference on the Japanese episode. Yes,
I thought that was good
I
until
know.
I
I
botched
know.
it terribly.
I know. Want that to be objective counter going forward is to have some sort of Dragon Ball
Is
Z.
Goku on top of a tank get going? Ah, it would be fun. It would be fun. That's why Battlefront will never do it.
It's for